Hello and welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. Ash Ketchum was a 16-year-old boy who valued his independence and preferred solitude. He had traveled through all the regions and met every professor, with his loyal partner Pikachu always by his side. Ash had completed the Pokédex, except for the legendary and mythical Pokémon, and he had a special friend that remained a secret to everyone but his Pokémon. This friend was Mew, who never entered a Pokeball and often perched on Ash's head, invisible to others. Though Ash was the strongest trainer in the world, few knew of his accomplishments, as he had never participated in official leagues. He had, however, defeated the Battle Frontier and, at just 10 years old, had bested the world champion in an unofficial battle using only 4 Pokémon. To keep his strength a secret, he used a Pokémon to erase the champion's memory of the encounter, ensuring that no one could identify him. Ash lived in a large house hidden deep within a forest, where he befriended many Pokémon. Forest Pokémon acted as guardians, ensuring that no intruders disturbed his home. One of Ash's most remarkable abilities was his strong aura, which allowed him to communicate with Pokémon. He could understand their speech and convey messages through his aura, making battles more strategic and considerate. One day, Ash entered the secret base of the Pokémon Justice League, a group dedicated to eliminating evil organizations, with Team Rocket as their primary focus. This organization was so secretive that even the champions were unaware of its existence. As one of their top agents, Ash was summoned to meet with the boss. Upon entering the office, Ash greeted the boss's secretary, Alina, before stepping into the main office. "Hello, Torin," he said, getting straight to the point. "What's this top-secret mission you mentioned?" Torin explained that he wanted Ash to attend the Pokémon Academy to investigate potential Team Rocket members infiltrating the school. Ash was taken aback. "You want me to go to school?" he asked, surprised. Torin clarified that it was a mission to gather information. After some contemplation, Ash agreed to take on the task. Torin handed him a paper with details and mentioned that Alina had a gift for him as a token of appreciation. After leaving the office, Ash met Alina, who presented him with a beautifully wrapped box. He thanked her and returned to his home in the forest, a serene space surrounded by trees that formed a natural dome. Inside, he unwrapped the box to find 2 Eevee eggs, one of which was a shiny silver color. "Cool, it's shiny," Mew exclaimed, while Pikachu wondered when they would hatch. Ash set the eggs down on a blanket and reviewed the information about the Pokémon Academy. It was an elite institution with 4 classes ranked from Master Class to Normal Class, determined by an entrance exam. Students were required to select at least 1 request and 1 alternate subject from a list that included mandatory and optional courses. Ash sighed, realizing he had no intention of joining any clubs, despite the opportunities they offered for social interaction. He prepared himself for the challenges that lay ahead at the academy, knowing that his mission was just beginning. The next day at the academy, May, Dawn, Serena, Misty, Brock, Drew, Gary, Clement, Paul, Max, and Bonnie were among the master class students who always gathered before school. Today, they had a specific topic in mind. Gary asked the group if they had heard about the new student. Clement wondered whether it would be a boy or girl, and May excitedly hoped it would be a girl, suggesting a new shopping partner. Dawn agreed, while Misty noted that they needed more girls in their group. Drew expressed his hope for a cute girl, and Paul simply wished for someone skilled at battling. Just then, the bell rang, and the announcement came through the speaker, inviting everyone to the stadium for an assembly to welcome the new student. May pointed out that an assembly was only held for new master class students, and Max noted that no one had entered the master class for years. Bonnie suggested they go see for themselves. Meanwhile, Ash was preparing for school. He addressed his Pokémon, explaining that he could only bring 6 of them. After some thought, he decided on Pikachu, Mew, Riolu, Charizard, Lycanroc, and Sceptile, who all cheered with excitement. The other Pokémon looked disappointed, but Ash reassured them that they could train and improve their skills while guarding the area. He packed his eggs in his backpack and returned the Pokémon he wasn't taking, leaving only Pikachu, Mew, and Charizard. With Pikachu on his shoulder and Mew invisibly perched on his head, Ash flew to school on Charizard. Upon arrival, Ash returned Charizard to its Pokeball and greeted Professor Sycamore, who welcomed him warmly. The professor explained that they were having an assembly to introduce Ash as the newest member of the master class, a significant event since it had been years since a new student had joined. Ash followed the professor to the stadium, where he saw hundreds of students seated in the bleachers. The principal took to the announcer's box and introduced Ash, highlighting his impressive perfect score on the entrance test. The crowd erupted in cheers, astonished by the achievement, as the previous highest score had been in the VIP box reserved for master class students. May exclaimed in disbelief, and Dawn echoed her surprise. Clement marveled at the news, while Paul speculated that Ash must be a skilled battler. Gary reminded them that the professor had confirmed Ash was a boy. Back at the stadium, Professor Sycamore called for a warm welcome for Ash Ketchum. Ash stepped into the spotlight, with Pikachu on his shoulder and Mew invisibly above him. The crowd cheered and applauded, and Mew communicated through aura, expressing excitement about the attention. Pikachu playfully reminded Mew that Ash was already famous, while Ash sighed, used to their banter. Suddenly, a voice broke through the excitement, challenging Ash to a battle. It was Paul, known as one of the best battlers in school. The crowd fell silent as Ash accepted the challenge, surprising everyone. Although Ash had achieved a perfect score, it didn't guarantee his battling skills, and some wondered if he was merely a bookworm. The two boys took their positions on the battlefield, and Professor Sycamore announced that it would be a 3 versus 3 battle, stating that the side with all Pokémon unable to battle would lose. The boys nodded in agreement, and the battle began. Magmar, stand by for battle. Paul shouted as he threw a Pokeball, releasing Magmar onto the field. Pikachu expressed his eagerness to battle, while Mew voiced his frustration about being a legendary Pokémon. Pikachu reminded Mew that many people sought him out just to catch a glimpse or take a picture, but Mew lamented that he rarely got to participate in battles due to his status. Ash sighed, finding their banter a bit annoying, even if it was communicated through aura. "Okay, Pikachu, you can battle, but don't go too hard on him," Ash instructed. "I choose you," he exclaimed, and Pikachu leaped onto the battlefield in a battle stance. "Use flamethrower," Paul commanded. "Dodge," Ash replied casually. Pikachu dodged with such speed that it seemed like he teleported. "Pikachu, Thunderbolt," Ash called out. Pikachu unleashed a powerful thunderbolt that struck Magmar, causing it to faint instantly, leaving everyone in shock. In the VIP box, May exclaimed in disbelief, "He one-shot Magmar." Misty echoed her surprise, while Gary commented on Pikachu's strength. Brock noted that Pikachu had been well raised, and they all watched the battle in awe. Back on the battlefield, Paul returned Magmar and called out, "Torterra, stand by for battle." He threw another Pokeball, and Torterra appeared. "Use Frenzy Plant," Paul ordered. "Dodge," Ash instructed. Pikachu dodged effortlessly. "Now use Iron Tail," Ash commanded. Pikachu executed the move with precision, knocking Torterra out as everyone watched in astonishment. "Goor, Torterra, return. Electivire, stand by for battle," Paul shouted, sending out Electivire. "Use Giga Impact," he commanded. Electivire charged at Pikachu, but when the smoke cleared, Pikachu stood unharmed. "Electivire, use Discharge and then Thunder Punch," Paul ordered. "Pikachu, counter with Iron Tail," Ash instructed. Pikachu responded with a powerful Iron Tail, countering Electivire's attack. Paul smirked, believing Electivire had the upper hand. "Pikachu can't let up or it will be overpowered," he said. Ash considered the situation thoughtfully. "Now use Brick Break with your other hand," Paul commanded. "Pikachu, Thunderbolt," Ash called out. Pikachu unleashed another Thunderbolt, hitting Electivire before it could strike. Electivire fainted, and the referee, still in shock, declared, Electivire is unable to battle. Pikachu is the winner, which means the victory goes to Ash. After the battle, everyone left the stadium and headed to their classes. Ash accompanied the professor to the principal's office to receive his schedule and dorm key, noting that his first class was science. At lunchtime, Ash entered the cafeteria and grabbed his lunch, sitting at an empty table with Pikachu on his lap. He shared some ketchup packets with Pikachu, who enjoyed them. Mew floated down to join them, and Ash offered her some fruit. They engaged in a light-hearted debate about the merits of ketchup versus fruit, with Pikachu insisting on the deliciousness of ketchup. At another table, some master class students were discussing Ash. "There's the new student," May pointed out. "I wonder how he got so strong," Gary mused. Dawn noted Ash's impressive performance against Paul. Paul grunted in response, and Serena suggested introducing herself to Ash. Misty encouraged her, and Serena approached Ash, introducing herself as a fellow master class student. However, Ash, feeling overwhelmed, curtly told her to leave him alone, prompting Pikachu and Mew to join him as he exited the cafeteria. Serena returned to her friends, visibly upset. They quickly noticed her distress and asked what had happened. Through her tears, Serena explained that Ash had yelled at her when she tried to befriend him. Her friends comforted her, expressing that it wasn't her fault and suggesting they teach Ash a lesson for his behavior. Later, Ash returned to his dorm after the cafeteria incident. He looked at his dorm key, noting that he was assigned to room #. Upon entering, he discovered it was a spacious room with comfortable seating and 5 beds. He claimed the bed farthest from the others and set down his backpack, taking out 2 eggs to polish them. Deciding to check on his Pokémon in the forest, Ash created an aura barrier around his belongings for protection. Accompanied by Pikachu and Mew, he ventured back to their home in the forest. Upon arrival, his Pokémon greeted him enthusiastically. Ash announced his intention to stay for a while and set up an aura barrier to keep the area safe. He released the Pokémon he had brought to school, while Mew took a nap in a tree and Pikachu sparred with Riolu. Charizard and a few other Pokémon were using their attacks on boulders and trees. The group, consisting of May, Dawn, Serena, Misty, Brock, Drew, Gary, Clement, Paul, Max, and Bonnie, had just comforted Serena when Dawn suggested, "Hey guys, why don't you all come over to our dorm and we can hang out?" Everyone agreed, and they made their way to dorm #. Upon entering, Gary noticed Ash's backpack on the bed and remarked, "Hey, isn't that the new kid's backpack?" May responded, "Oh no, that bed has been empty for years. I bet he must be our new roommate." Dawn, May, Serena, and Gary groaned. "Hey, what do you say we look through his stuff and take something as payback for being rude to Serena?" Gary suggested. "We might get in trouble for that. Let's just look for anything embarrassing instead," Clement proposed. The group nodded in agreement. As Gary approached the bed, he accidentally hit himself on the head. "What the?" he exclaimed. He punched the air, and to everyone's surprise, his fist hit something. "What?" Gary said, and the group looked at him skeptically, thinking he was joking. When Gary punched the air again, a blue and white barrier appeared around Ash's bed. The group stared in shock. "What in the world is that?" Max asked. "It looks to be some sort of barrier," Clement replied, adjusting his glasses. "Well, what's it doing here?" Misty inquired. "Let's try to break it," Gary suggested. The group nodded and began kicking and hitting the barrier. Meanwhile, Ash sensed the disturbance at the barrier he had set up in his dorm. He closed his eyes and used his aura to see what was happening. He noticed the group trying to break through. Deciding to teach them a lesson, he created an aura sphere connected to the barrier. "Pikachu," he called, and Pikachu came running over. "What do you need, Ash?" Pikachu asked. "I need you to use Thunderbolt on this aura sphere," Ash explained. Pikachu nodded and used a moderate thunderbolt. Ash thanked his loyal partner, and Pikachu scampered off to play with Bulbasaur and the others. The barrier would now send shocks to anyone who touched it, and Ash watched as the group got shocked, realizing they had learned not to mess with his belongings. Back with the group, they were all getting shocked when they touched the barrier, and it hurt a lot, so they eventually gave up. "Well, let's just see how the new kid will get through this," Gary said. They all agreed, and Dawn suggested, "Well, it's getting late, so you guys should head back to your dorms." Misty, Bonnie, Max, Brock, Clement, Drew, and Paul returned to their respective dorms. "Let's stay up and see how the new kid deals with that barrier," May said. Serena, Dawn, and Gary agreed. They brushed their teeth, changed into their pajamas, and went to bed, keeping their eyes open to see if Ash would come. In the forest, Ash said to his Pokémon, "Well guys, I have to go back now. You can stay here." Pikachu jumped on his shoulder, and Mew turned invisible on his head. Ash closed his eyes and used his aura to check if anyone was near his dorm door. The hall was empty, so he teleported back to the dorm with Mew and Pikachu. Upon entering, he sensed his roommates were awake. He passed through the barrier and got into bed, where Pikachu curled up on his chest, and Mew invisibly joined him. Eventually, everyone drifted off to sleep. In the following days, the group kept a close eye on Ash. After school, when Ash decided to visit his Pokémon in the forest, the group began to discuss his whereabouts. "Where is he going?" Drew asked suspiciously. "I dunno. Maybe we should follow him," Gary suggested. Everyone agreed and followed Ash into the forest. Suddenly, they crashed into an invisible barrier. "Seriously?" Gary shouted. "Another one?" Max exclaimed. "But how can he just pass right through them?" May questioned. Meanwhile, Ash greeted his Pokémon, who were excited to see him. "Have you all been training?" he asked, and they nodded enthusiastically. "All right then, that's good. What do you say we have a small feast?" Ash proposed. The Pokémon cheered in agreement. Concentrating hard, Ash waved his hands, and a feast appeared on a red and white picnic blanket. "All right everyone, dig in," he said. The Pokémon began to eat a variety of foods and desserts, and Ash watched happily as they enjoyed the meal. Back with the group, they were frustrated. "We're never gonna break it," Max said. They had been trying to break the barrier for a while now without success. "You're right. We need a new plan," Drew concluded. After some thought, Brock suggested, "What about an ambush?" The group considered this idea and agreed it was their best shot at payback. They decided to ambush Ash after school. The next day after school, the gang positioned themselves on each side of the road. Clement, Bonnie, Dawn, and Brock were on the left, while Paul, Serena, May, Max, and Drew were on the right. Gary planned to walk out of the forest when Ash came close enough, making up a story to challenge him. If Ash refused, everyone would jump in to battle him, whether he liked it or not. Unbeknownst to Ash, he was walking right into their trap along the path when he suddenly heard a rustle in the bushes. He looked over, and then Gary appeared. Ash thought to himself, "Oh. Here comes trouble." "Oh, hey. I was just looking for some Pokémon to add to my team," Gary said. "Great, good for you. Now could you get out of my way?" Ash replied, as Gary blocked the path. "Sure, but you have to battle me first," Gary responded. Ash mentally cursed himself, wondering why he had accepted the challenge instead of claiming he was busy. "I'm in a bit of a hurry, so no," Ash said. "Are you sure?" Gary asked, smirking. Ash sensed an ambush. "Yes, I'm sure," he replied. "Well, that's too bad because you've got no choice," Gary yelled. Suddenly, everyone emerged from their hiding spots and surrounded Ash, releasing their Pokémon. "Delphox, Sylveon, time to shine!" Serena shouted. "Mamoswine, Kalava, Togekiss, Spotlight!" Dawn yelled. "Blaziken, Venusaur, Wartortle, take the stage!" May exclaimed. "Electivire, Ursaring, Torterra, stand by for battle. Paul yelled. Deden, Aromatis, come on and help out. Bonnie shouted. Grovyle, Skarmory, let's go. Max exclaimed. Sudowoodo, Marshtomp, Fortress, come on out. Brock yelled. Roserade, Absol, Flygon, out you come. Drew shouted. Heliolisk, Luxray, Magnemite, help us out. Clement exclaimed. Blastoise, Nidoking, Arcanine, I choose you. Gary yelled. With 27 Pokémon surrounding him, Ash sighed, thinking he was going to overdo this. He smirked and grabbed 4 Pokeball, declaring, everyone out, as Pikachu jumped to the ground in battle stance. Out came Infernape, Gengar, Pidgeot, and Feraligatr. Guys, I now have a battle opportunity if anyone wants. Ash shouted to his Pokémon in the forest. His friends looked at him, unsure if he had backup or if he was just being reckless. Moments later, several Pokémon rushed from the forest to protect their trainer, Gigalith, Swellow, Garchomp, Dragonite, and a few others. Now Ash had 12 Pokémon with him, not including Mew. What? How do you have more than 6 Pokémon with you? That's impossible. Max shouted. My secrets, not yours. Plus, it's your own fault for putting your Pokémon into the emergency room, Ash said with a smirk. Wah! Pikachu, Thunderbolt and Electro Ball. Infernape, Flamethrower. Gengar, Shadow Ball. Pidgeot, Air Slash. Feraligatr, Hydro Pump. Gigalith, Rock Blast. Swellow, Wing Attack. Dragonite, Hyper Beam. Garchomp, Dragon Breath. Everyone else, your strongest moves. Ash commanded. Electivire, Thunder. Torterra, Leaf Storm. Paul ordered. Blastoise, Hydro Pump. Arcanine, Flamethrower. Nidoking, Earthquake. Gary yelled. Grovyle, Bullet Seed. Skarmory, Spikes. Max shouted. Deden, Discharge. Aromatis, Hidden Power. Bonnie exclaimed. Blaziken, Blaze Kick. Venusaur, Frenzy Plant. Wartortle, Water Pulse. May commanded. Mamoswine, Ice Shard. Togekiss, Aura Sphere. Kalava, Swift. Dawn shouted. Heliolisk, Parabolic Charge. Luxray, Discharge. Magnemite, Supersonic. Clement yelled. Flygon, Boomburst. Roserade, Petal Dance. Absol, Focus Energy. Drew ordered. Delphox, Will-O-Wisp. Sylveon, Moonblast. Serena commanded. Marshtomp, Mud Shot. Fortress, Toxic Spikes. Sudowoodo, Mimic. Brock shouted. Pikachu and Electivire's thunderbolts clashed, with Pikachu's winning and electrocuting. Electivire. All the moves collided, creating a massive cloud of smoke. Pidgeot, use Gust. Ash commanded. Pidgeot flapped its wings, clearing the smoke to reveal that every single one of the gang's Pokémon had fainted, while Ash's Pokémon stood strong. The gang was astonished. How could Ash have defeated them despite being outnumbered? They returned their Pokémon and hurried down the path to the Pokémon Center. Before disappearing from sight, Gary turned around and yelled, "We'll get you for this." Ash sighed, not bothering to return his Pokémon, and walked into the forest with his team following closely behind, Pikachu on his shoulder and Mew invisibly on his head. It was about a week after the ambush when Ash and his Pokémon were in the forest, preparing for some training. He organized a sparring session, assigning his Pokémon to different partners. Suddenly, a giant gust of wind swept through, and a bright light appeared. When it faded, Mutwo was floating in front of them. Mew joyfully greeted Mutwo, whom she considered a sister due to their shared DNA. Ash, however, was curious about Mutwo's visit and hoped it wasn't related to another evil organization. Mutwo reassured them that she was there on behalf of their mother, Archus, who wanted to discuss important matters. With a flash, Mutwo teleported Ash, Mew, and Pikachu to the Hall of Origins, a majestic meeting place for legendary Pokémon. The hall had an ancient yet pristine feel, with smooth white quartz walls and colorful thrones. In the center was an aqua-blue pool that allowed Archus to observe the world. As Ash greeted the assembled legendaries, he was met with enthusiastic responses from familiar friends like Shalebi, Victini, and others. They all welcomed him warmly, and Ash, anticipating their playful nature, conjured cushions to soften their enthusiastic greetings. Once everyone settled, Archus addressed the group. She revealed two important matters: the creation of new Eeveevolutions and the need to manage Ultra Beasts appearing in the Alola region. Ash learned he would need to return to Alola during spring break to handle the Ultra Beasts and that there were 10 new Eevee eggs to help discover the new evolutions. Grateful, Ash accepted the eggs and teleported back to the forest to share the news with his Pokémon. His Eeveevolutions were especially excited about the prospect of new family members once the eggs hatched. The next day, the gang decided to have lunch at a new cafe called the Confronting Cafe, located near their academy. They arrived to find a charming atmosphere adorned with fairy-type Pokémon decorations and vibrant flowers. The menu featured delightful treats, and each member ordered something special, excited to enjoy their meal together. After finishing their lunch, the gang headed to the park to relax and let their Pokémon play. The park was a spacious area bordered by trees, perfect for enjoying the day and preparing for the upcoming adventure in Alola. The park was serene, with railings lining the street and a wide opening allowing access. In the center stood a magnificent white fountain, topped with a statue of Suicune that gracefully sprayed water into the three-layered basin below. Surrounding the fountain were 6 benches spaced about 10 feet apart, and beyond it lay a battlefield where trainers could test their Pokémon's strength. The group had just fed their Pokémon with the special food Brock had prepared the day before and enjoyed some Slurpuff Malasadas they had saved from the Confronting Cafe, sharing a few with their Pokémon. Ash was off training his Pokémon among the trees, while the others were preoccupied with feeding and playing with theirs. "Alright, Lena, you spar with Mawile. Torracat, you go with Pikachu. Mew, you battle with Arrow, but take the form of another Pokémon," Ash instructed. As they began their training, Ash kept a watchful eye on his friends. Suddenly, a rustle in the bushes caught their attention. Ash's Pokémon instinctively took battle stances as 5 figures emerged from the foliage, heading toward the group without noticing Ash or his Pokémon. The atmosphere grew tense as the gang spotted the newcomers. The group stopped in front of them, led by a boy in a red and white jacket, black shirt and jeans, with a Pikachu perched on his shoulder. This was Red, the leader of the notorious Shadow Gang, known for bullying others and taking their belongings. Beside him stood Trip, wearing an orange jacket, and Green, in green shorts and a black shirt. On Red's other side was Cross, dressed in a black vest, and finally, Silver, who sported a black and red jacket. "Hey there, losers," Green taunted. "What do you want? Leave us alone." Gary shot back defiantly. "Give us your money, and we'll leave you and your Pokémon alone," Cross demanded. "No way. We worked hard for our money, and you should do the same," Brock retorted. "Ooh, look at the losers fighting back," Silver mocked. "You'll get what's coming to you," Paul warned. "Remember, what's ours is ours, and what's yours is also ours," Trip added. Ash observed the confrontation, feeling a surge of resentment toward 2 members of the group. "You know, that group may be annoying, but they don't deserve this," Mew exclaimed. "Who would do such a thing?" Lena asked. "Evil people, that's who," her brother replied. "I can't believe my second cousin twice removed would have a trainer like that," Torracat grumbled. "What? Second cousin twice removed?" Arrow questioned. "The kid with the weird hair has an Incineroar who is my second cousin twice removed," Torracat explained. "Wow, Ash's Pokémon responded in unison. Unable to watch the bullies torment his friends any longer, Ash decided to intervene. "Come on, guys, we have to help," he said to his Pokémon. "I was hoping we could enjoy watching them get roasted," Pikachu complained. "They may be annoying, but bullies who steal are worse," Ash replied. "Fine, but don't blame me if they start bothering you more than usual," Pikachu warned. "Don't worry, I won't." Ash made his way through the trees to confront the bullies, with his Pokémon following closely behind. Pikachu hopped onto his shoulder, and Mew remained hidden on his head. Stepping in front of the gang, Ash declared, "Stop. It's not right to steal or bully others." The gang was taken aback, surprised to see Ash, who had previously ignored them, now defending their friends. "And who are you?" Red asked, raising an eyebrow. Ash felt a pang of hurt but brushed it off. "Who I am is not your business. Just leave these people alone and get lost," he replied. Red narrowed his eyes. "You don't know who I am, do you?" he challenged. "If by that you mean the former strongest trainer at the academy, then yes, I do," Ash answered. Both Ash's and Red's Pikachu sparked their cheeks in a show of defiance. "Back off!" Ash's Pikachu shouted. "No, you back off, loser!" Red's Pikachu shot back. "No, you! You traitor!" Ash's Pikachu retorted. "What?" Red's Pikachu asked, confused. "Wow, you don't even remember. Then again, I can't really blame you. It's been years." Ash's Pikachu mumbled. "Whatever, just get out of here." Red's Pikachu insisted. "No, you!" Ash's Pikachu fired back. "Lay off it, Pikachu." "Let me handle it," Ash said. Red's Pikachu jumped in surprise. What the heck was that?" it exclaimed. "What, never seen a bit of aura in action?" Ash's Pikachu teased. "Aura? No way, that stuff died out centuries ago." Red's Pikachu exclaimed. "Apparently, you're quite misinformed. It almost died out. Ash here is the last known Aura Guardian, stronger than the strongest Aura Guardian in history, Sir Aaron," Ash's Pikachu said with a smirk. Red's Pikachu's jaw dropped, recognizing the name. "Well then, I challenge you to a battle," Red said, smirking. "I accept." The crowd was visibly shocked. It was known that accepting a challenge from Red was a risky move. Even Red was surprised, though he concealed it well. "I'll be the referee," Clement offered. They all moved to the battlefield, taking their positions on opposite sides. This will be a one-on-one battle. Whoever's Pokémon is unable to battle will lose. Battle begin. The characters continued their playful banter, referencing a well-known phrase about ownership. One character humorously noted that while the original saying was about personal possessions, they had chosen to tweak it for fun. There was a sense of camaraderie as they shared this inside joke, hinting at their close relationship. The atmosphere was light-hearted, and it was clear that their interactions were filled with warmth and understanding. As they moved on to the next topic, the bond between them deepened, showcasing their friendship and shared experiences. "I won a battle." Pikachu growled. "Fine, but don't let your anger get the best of you." "We don't want to injure his Pokémon," Ash replied, holding out his arm. "I choose you." Pikachu ran down his arm and jumped onto the battlefield. Red had the same idea, shouting, "Let's go," as his Pikachu jumped off his shoulder and onto the battlefield. "Quick attack!" Red commanded. Pikachu R zigzagged towards Ash's Pikachu. Ash waited until Pikachu R was close enough, then Pikachu A looked at Ash, who nodded. Pikachu A dodged the attack almost instantly. "Now, use Thunderbolt," Ash said, focusing on Pikachu A. Pikachu A nodded and ran in close to Pikachu R, unleashing a mighty Thunderbolt. Red's Pikachu barely dodged it, landing with a thud on the ground. "Come on, Pikachu!" Red shouted. Pikachu are quickly recovered and awaited a command. Iron Tail. Red ordered. Pikachu R's tail glowed silver as it ran in fast to use Iron Tail. It jumped into the air, spinning and hitting Ash's Pikachu with all its might. Fake it, Ash commanded. Pikachu A struggled to get up. Alright, trap it with Electro Web. Red called out. Pikachu R created an Electro Ball and threw it, transforming it into an Electro Web that landed on Ash's Pikachu. Use Thunderbolt, and follow it up with Iron Tail. Red ordered. Pikachu R unleashed a strong lightning bolt that hit Pikachu A, then used Iron Tail on it. Pikachu A looked at Ash, who nodded. While Pikachu R was still close, Pikachu A broke out of the Electro Web and hit Red's Pikachu. Pikachu R slid back but quickly planted its tail in the ground to stop moving. Ash's Pikachu ran back to Ash's side, awaiting further commands. Use Thunderbolt. Red shouted. Pikachu R obeyed and shot a bolt of lightning towards Ash's Pikachu. Intercept it with Electro Web. Ash ordered, adding 29% power. Pikachu quickly created a ball of lightning at the end of its tail and threw it at Red's Pikachu. The ball opened up to form a web, intercepting Pikachu R's Thunderbolt. However, it continued on and hit Red's Pikachu, now extra powerful from absorbing the Thunderbolt. Red's Pikachu was thrown back, struggling to get back up. Now, finish it with Electro Iron Tackle. Ash shouted, specifying, only 15% power on each attack. Pikachu A made its tail shiny for Iron Tail and created another Electro Ball on its tail, running fast into a Volt Tackle, combining all three moves into Electro Iron Tackle. Intercept it with Thunderbolt and Iron Tail. Red called desperately. Pikachu R made its tail shiny and ran towards Ash's Pikachu, unleashing a powerful Thunderbolt along the way. Ash's Pikachu ran right through it, and when both Pikachu's tails met, Pikachu A overpowered Red's Pikachu with the added Electro Ball. Pikachu R was thrown to the ground. Pi Pika, it said, fainting. Clement shouted, Red's Pikachu is unable to battle. Ash's Pikachu is the winner, therefore, Ash is the winner of the match. Red was shocked beyond belief. How could this new kid beat him? Pikachu, return, Ash said. Pikachu happily ran back to Ash and jumped onto his shoulder. Did you see me? Did you see? Pikachu asked. Yes, I saw. I was the one who told you what to do. Ash replied. Not you. I know you saw. I'm talking about Mew. Pikachu said exasperatedly. Yeah. You beat him. So what? He's not nearly as strong as any of Ash's Pokémon, Mew said, her nose up in the air. What? Excuse me, but I didn't see anyone else volunteering. Pikachu retorted. Well, no duh, genius. You know I can't battle unless we're catching a Pokémon, and I usually don't even get to battle then. Mew answered. Excuses, Pikachu sighed. Humph. I probably could have beaten him 10 times faster if I had the chance. Mew stated. What? No way. Yes way. After all, I am a legendary, Mew smirked. Grr. Pikachu was interrupted by Ash. Guys, just stop. You're driving me crazy. Ash yelled. Hee hee. Pikachu said. Sorry. Mew replied. Ash sighed in annoyance. Red looked at Ash, but he didn't seem to notice. Weird. The kid's Pikachu seems to be yapping at thin air and he just yelled something about, you two stop, but there's only his Pikachu. There is definitely something strange going on here, and I'm going to find out what. But that can wait. I need to take Pikachu to the Pokémon Center, Red thought to himself. He picked up his Pikachu carefully and said, it's not over, kid. Let's go, gang. The Shadow Gang left, walking up to Ash. Wow, thanks. May exclaimed. Yeah. That battle was amazing. Dawn added. Amicham. But why did you help us? I thought you hated us. Drew asked. Yeah, I'm with Drew. I thought you hated us, Gary said. Ash sighed and replied, I couldn't let the bullies keep on bullying people. I don't hate you, but I don't like you either. You're just annoying. On my first day, you tried to snoop through my stuff when I was gone. Fair enough. Wait, how'd you know about that? Max asked. I have my ways, Ash answered, thinking, dang, I shouldn't have mentioned that. Now they'll have questions. What do you mean, ways? Brock asked. Why were you mean at lunch that day, too? Serena inquired. Oh yeah, and there was a weird barrier around your bed. Then, when we tried to follow you into the forest a few days later, we hit another one. How do you explain that? Misty asked suspiciously. I don't, Ash replied. You don't what? Gary asked. I don't explain. I haven't got to tell you nuisances anything, Ash said, clearly annoyed. That's not how you should treat friends. Serena said. Friends? Who said we were friends? Ash asked. Well, you saved us, so, just because I saved you doesn't mean we're friends. Like I said, I just had to stop them from bullying people. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have somewhere to be. Ash shouted, storming off. I told you they'd get more annoying, Pikachu shook his head. Ugh. The gang watched him leave, feeling sad. They thought they had just gained the friendship of the strongest kid at the academy. Drew expressed his disbelief, while May was left speechless. Dawn questioned how someone could be so unkind. Gary pointed out that at least he wasn't as bad as the Shadow Gang. Paul rolled his eyes, noting that the boy's words seemed particularly hurtful. Serena sighed, acknowledging that they kind of owed him something. Brock reminded them that he had saved them from the Shadow Gang, prompting Bonnie to exclaim her frustration about how he had treated Serena. Drew added that perhaps this meant they were even. Clement concluded that they all seemed to agree with that sentiment. Ash sat at his desk in geometry class, twirling his pencil between his fingers. He was already familiar with the material, and he eagerly awaited the bell that would signal the start of spring break. Soon, he would be heading off to Alola to face the Ultra Beasts. The teacher concluded the lesson, assigning spring break homework just as the bell rang. As students gathered their belongings, Ash called out to Mew, who had been napping on the windowsill. Mew startled awake, floating over to Ash and landing on his head. Ash sighed, promising Mew that if she behaved on the trip, he would let her become an Eevee for battles. Mew excitedly agreed, but Pikachu, perched on Ash's shoulder, was skeptical about how long that would last. Mew playfully lunged at Pikachu, but Ash used his psychic powers to catch her. Leaving the classroom, Ash was intercepted by his friends. Gary asked where he was going, and Ash replied that he was trying to get away from them. Gary suggested they invite Ash to spend spring break together since he was new and might not have anyone else to hang out with. Ash insisted he preferred solitude, but the group pressed on, curious about his plans. Frustrated, Ash declared he was going somewhere but refused to share the details. When his friends continued to pester him, he commanded Pikachu to use a thunderbolt, which knocked them all out. Mew cheered in delight, and Ash smiled, feeling a sense of relief. An hour later, Ash packed his supplies for the trip, including berries and a canteen of water. He also brought his Z-Ring, equipped with his Electrium Z crystal. He had decided to take 11 Pokémon with him, including Pikachu, Mew, and a uniquely colored Lucario with crimson eyes. With Charizard released, Ash hopped on its back, flying to the airport. After thanking Charizard for the ride, Ash entered the airport and purchased a ticket to Alola. He grabbed a snack at the Dragonite Cafe, treating Mew to a fruit cup and Pikachu to a bottle of ketchup. As the announcement for boarding echoed through the airport, Ash made his way to the gate. After a 6-hour flight, he finally stepped off the plane, filled with excitement. "I'm back, Alola," he exclaimed. Mew chimed in, encouraging everyone to stay tuned for the next chapter, while Pikachu playfully interjected. The scene ended with a light-hearted exchange between the characters, setting the stage for their upcoming adventures in Alola. 50 years ago. There was a beautiful place only inhabited by 3 species, Piku, Pikachu, and Raichu. It was a stunning location with sparkling waterfalls and lush green grass. Shimmering rivers flowed swiftly, and warm patches of sunlight illuminated the area. Trees and bushes were bursting with berries of all kinds. Some Pokémon used hollow trees for their homes, while others dug dens to live in. This place was protected by a magical psychic barrier that made the entrance look like the wall of a cliff. While inside, one could see the sky, but looking down from the cliff revealed only the rocky bottom of a giant valley. This wonderful place was called Pikachu Valley. Pikachu Valley was rich with thunderstones hidden in a secret location. When a Piku reached a certain age, it was granted the choice to evolve into a Pikachu. If it chose to do so, it would then have the opportunity to evolve again at a later age. All Piku were born in Pikachu Valley, but once they reached a certain age, they had to choose between staying in Pikachu Valley or venturing into the outside world. If they chose the outside world, they would forget about Pikachu Valley entirely, ensuring its safety from discovery. The source of the valley's beauty and vitality was the Pikachu crystal. This crystal was the reason the waterfalls and rivers flowed, the grass remained fresh, and the trees stayed green all year round. If the crystal were ever taken, the rivers would dry up, the grass and trees would wither, flowers would wilt, berries would rot, the psychic barrier would fall, and Pikachu Valley would cease to exist. All was well in Pikachu Valley until one day, when an evil, power-hungry trainer and his Mimikyu found the valley. They forced all the Pokémon out of their homes and stole the Pikachu crystal. Pikachu Valley was never to be seen again. Ash, Pikachu, and Mew were wandering through the forest, trying to find the nearest town. Pikachu expressed frustration, blaming Ash for getting them lost. Mew defended Ash, arguing that humans didn't know how to make maps. Ash intervened, asking them to stop bickering. The playful argument continued until Mew, in the form of an Eevee, accidentally lost the map to the wind, leaving them completely lost. Suddenly, Ash stopped walking near a cliff wall. His Pokémon noticed he wasn't with them and turned around. Mew asked if he was okay, while Pikachu sensed something unusual. Ash revealed he sensed something behind the wall, and Mew confirmed an incredibly strong psychic power was emanating from there. Pikachu closed his eyes to focus and suddenly exclaimed that he sensed more beings, small ones. He realized they were Pikachu. Excitedly, he declared there was a place full of them behind the wall, along with Raichu. Just then, Mew, leaning against the wall, tumbled through it as it unexpectedly vanished. Pikachu and Ash watched in shock as she disappeared. Ash stepped forward and reached out, discovering that the wall was an illusion. On the other side of the strange wall. A few minutes earlier, loud sirens blared, and shouting filled the air. A mechanical voice announced a human alert repeatedly. The chief, a Raichu, commanded the defense brigade to prepare. A female Pikachu named Sparkle rushed in, wanting to help, but her father insisted it was too dangerous. Reluctantly, she turned back, but soon after, her brother Ray arrived, apologizing for being late. Their father instructed Ray to take Sparkle back home. Determined to help, Sparkle snuck out of her room and headed toward the valley entrance, hiding behind boulders to avoid being seen. Suddenly, she saw a pink figure tumble through the barrier and wondered what it was. Meanwhile, Mew exclaimed in surprise as Ash tumbled through the barrier, followed closely by Pikachu. Ash was bewildered by the sight of hundreds of Pikachu and Raichu staring at them, looking less than pleased. Sparkle, witnessing the newcomers, ran home in a panic. She burst into her brother's room, interrupting his streaming session. She excitedly announced that Big Brother was back, but Ray, confused, clarified that he hadn't gone anywhere. Sparkle corrected him, insisting she meant Spark. Chapter end. Part number 2, a Pikachu named Spark. Sparkle looked at the new Pikachu in shock. She ran home as fast as she could, dashed upstairs, and banged open a door. "Big brother," she yelled. Ray took off his headphones and looked away from his computer. "What now?" "I was streaming." Ray replied. "No, not you, idiot." "Spark," she exclaimed. Ray was visibly shocked. "What?" he said. "Spark is back. He is with a human and a small, pink, floating, cat-like creature. They just tumbled through the barrier." Sparkle explained. Ray shook his head in disbelief. "Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go," he shouted. The siblings ran out of the house toward the barrier. "Fire at will," the chief shouted. "Pikachu, Mew!" Ash called out. Pikachu ran toward Ash while Mew flew overhead. Just as the thunderbolts and other attacks were about to hit them, Ash created an aura barrier. The Pokémon were stunned. Raichu and Pikachu then used other attacks like Iron Tail and Quick Attack on the barrier. Ash threw out 6 Pokeball, releasing Torracat, Lycanroc, Riolu, Lucario, Greninja, and Charizard. Ash formed a large aura sphere. "Guys, use your strongest attacks on the sphere," he commanded. They nodded and unleashed their most powerful moves. Torracat used Fire Blast, Charizard used Flamethrower, Lycanroc used Rock Throw, Greninja used Water Shuriken, and both Lucario and Riolu used Aura Sphere. When Pikachu and Raichu physically touched the aura barrier, a flurry of attacks hit them. Sparkle and Ray ran as fast as they could toward the commotion. "Dad! Wait!" The chief turned around and saw Ray and Sparkle rushing toward him. "Kids! What are you doing here?" he yelled. "Stop attacking!" Ray shouted. "What? What in the world are you talking about?" he replied. "You have to stop attacking them. That Pikachu is Spark." Sparkle insisted. Her dad looked at her in disbelief, then turned back toward Ash, Pikachu, and Mew. He approached them for a closer look and was taken aback. "And no way," he whispered to himself. "Cease your fire," he yelled over the noise. All the Pokémon halted their attacks. Ash lowered his shield. "Geez, that was..." Pikachu was cut off by Sparkle tackling him. "Ah! I'm being attacked!" Pikachu exclaimed. Mew snickered, and Ash rolled his eyes. "What was that about? Why'd you attack us?" Ash asked. "Why, you have aura," the chief said. "Yes, and that means I can understand you. So tell me, why did you attack us?" Ash pressed. "We were just protecting the valley," the chief explained. "Oh. Then why did you stop?" Ash inquired. "Because that Pikachu is my son," the chief replied. Ash, Pikachu, Mew, Sparkle, Ray, and the chief sat in the chief's house, along with the siblings' mom. Ash had transformed into a Pikachu using his aura to fit inside, while Mew transformed into a Pikachu for fun. "My name is Volt. This is my daughter Sparkle, my son Ray, and my mate Glimmer. I am the chief of the Chew tribe. Let me explain what happened. 10 years ago, Pikachu Valley had been destroyed when the Pikachu crystal was taken by an evil trainer with greed in his heart, accompanied by a Mimikyu. It had been 40 years since the crystal was stolen. Most of the former residents were doing okay, living in the forest with other wild Pokémon. Spark had already been born by then and was 3 years old when disaster struck. A forest fire endangered all the Pikachu, Raichu, and other Pokémon living there. Just when they thought all was lost, a blur of blue and black swooped in to save them. It turned out to be a Lucario. A man arrived, carrying a bunch of other Pokémon. He extinguished the fire and healed all the injured Pokémon using his aura. They told him how the Pikachu crystal was stolen, and he promised to retrieve it. After months, he returned with the crystal. though he never revealed how he got it back, only mentioning it was difficult. Then the mysterious person left, and they never saw him again. "Wow," Pikachu said. "So then, what does this have to do with me?" "You are my son, but you decided to leave," Volt explained. "Leave?" Pikachu asked. "Yes. You see, all Piku are born in Pikachu Valley, but once they reach a certain age, they must choose between Pikachu Valley and the outside world. If a Piku, Pikachu, or Raichu chooses the outside world, they forget about Pikachu Valley completely to protect it from being discovered," he clarified. "So, I forgot?" Pikachu asked. "Yes. You chose to leave, so you forgot everything: your childhood, your friends, even us, your family," Volt said. "Can I remember? I mean, we're here anyways, so." Pikachu began. "That's a great idea. We can make him remember," Sparkle exclaimed. "But how do we do that?" Mew asked. "The Crystal Cavern of Memories," Ray answered. "Every time a Pokémon forgets, their memories get absorbed into the Pikachu crystal. Once it has the memories, it creates a new crystal to store them. If you break the right crystal open in front of the memory's owner, they will regain their memories. There is a Raichu who works there and labels all the crystals with the owner's name. He can help us find Sparks," Ray explained. "Then let's go," Sparkle said. "Can I remember? I mean, we're here anyways, so," Sparkle suggested. "That's a great idea. We can make him remember," she added enthusiastically. "But how do we do that?" Mew inquired. "The Crystal Cavern of Memories," Ray explained. "Every time a Pokémon forgets, their memories get absorbed into the Pikachu crystal. Once it has the memories, it creates a new crystal to store them. If you break the crystal open in front of the memory's owner, they will remember everything. There is a Raichu who works there, he labels all the crystals with the name of whose memories are inside. He knows where each one is by heart and can help us find Sparks," Ray concluded. "Then let's go," Sparkle exclaimed. Glimmer stayed home to prepare something to eat for later while the rest of the group made their way to the Crystal Cavern of Memories. The journey took some time since the cavern was located in the mountains. Upon arrival, they spotted a Raichu sitting at a desk by the entrance, reading a thick book. "Hello there. How can I help you?" he asked. "We're looking for Spark's memories," Ray replied. The Raichu pondered for a moment before opening a drawer and pulling out an enormous book. "Can I have the full name?" he asked. "Sparkton Salvador Shocker," Volt answered. The Raichu flipped through the pages of the book, eventually stopping and placing his paw on a page. Heir. Sparkton Salvador Shocker. Born 0306, left 0508, memories located in Crystal 1923, he announced. He pushed the book aside and retrieved another large book with smaller pages. Flipping to page 1923, he revealed a neatly drawn map of the caverns, with one of the crystals colored yellow. He removed the tape holding the map to the page. "There you are. Take this map and go find that crystal. You can guess the yellow one is the one you're looking for," he said in a playful accent. He handed the map to Volt, and the group ventured into the cavern. The cavern was stunning, with crystals of various colors representing the personalities of their owners. Each crystal glowed uniquely, illuminating the entire space. Volt studied the map and led the group to an area filled with yellowish crystals. After counting them, he stopped at one and attempted to pull it out but struggled. "I need some help pulling this thing out," he said. They all grabbed onto the crystal, preparing to pull together. "On my signal. 1, 2, 3. Pull!" Ash shouted. They all pulled, and with a final effort, the crystal came free. It was heavy, and they carefully placed it on the ground. Spark stood in front of the crystal. "Judging by how hard it was to pull out, it will probably take all of us to break it open," Ray said. We'll all use Iron Tail on 3. 1. They all charged their tails with energy. 2. They got into position. 3. They unleashed their iron tails with all their might. Crack! The crystal shattered, releasing a flurry of yellow lights that danced around the cavern before swirling around Spark. The lights gathered into a glowing ball around him, lifting him into the air. Then the ball burst, and Spark's eyes sparkled with light. Pikachu floated down to the ground, shaking his head before opening his eyes wide. I remember. Spark exclaimed. Yay, they all cheered. Later, the group returned to Volt's house, where Glimmer had prepared a special feast for the occasion. After enjoying the meal, Spark, Ash, and Muse settled down to sleep in the guest room. The next day, Spark, Ash, and Mew explored everything the valley had to offer. They savored delicious poke puffs and other tasty treats, played games, and admired the sights. As the afternoon approached, Ash said, "Well, I think it's best we be going now." "Ah. But you just got here." Sparkle protested, and they all laughed. "I think you're right, Ash. You probably have lots to do," Volt agreed. "Oh. Do you know how to get to Melee Island?" Ash asked. "Yep. Just go outside the barrier, make a left, then a right at the giant oak tree surrounded by rocks. Wait." Spark exclaimed. "What is it?" Spark asked. "I should come. Next week is my day of decision anyway." "How much could a week hurt?" Sparkle suggested. Volt and Glimmer exchanged glances, and Glimmer nodded. "Well, I guess it's okay with us." "Just ask them," Volt said with a smile. "Can I come?" "Please, Sparkle pleaded. "Sure. The more, the merrier." Ash replied. "Yay!" Sparkle jumped with excitement. "Hey, I was wondering. Could I come too?" Ray asked. Sparkle was taken aback. "But what about streaming and stuff?" she questioned. Ray waved it off. "I spend too much time in there anyway. So, can I come?" Ash nodded in agreement. Ray looked to his parents. "Oh, all right. But you know, it's going to be lonely here without you." Glimmer joked. "Ah, Mom," Sparkle said, hugging her parents. "Goodbye." Sparkle waved as the group walked toward the barrier. "Bye." Ray shouted. "Goodbye, and stay safe." Glimmer called out as the group disappeared through the barrier. Ash, Mew, Eevee, Spark, Sparkle, and Ray were headed to Melee Island. They arrived at a beach that stretched out to the ocean, with Melee Island visible in the distance. "Come on, guys," Ash urged his Pokémon. Mew Eevee flopped face down in the sand, while Sparkle and Ray struggled to keep going. "We only left the valley 10 minutes ago," Ash exclaimed. "But it feels like forever," Ray replied. Sighing, Ash sat down on a flat rock. Suddenly, a tear in the space-time continuum opened an ultra-wormhole, and their eyes widened at the sight. Out of it emerged a red and black ultra beast, muscular and resembling an oversized bug with wings. "Buzzwole," it yelled as it crashed down, slamming its fists on impact. "Oh. I think I'm going to need everyone's help," Ash called out, throwing all his Pokeball. Roar! Roar! Lycanroc. Torracat. Roo-Roo. Ninja. Sceptile. Rio. Lucario. Charizard, Dragonite, Lycanroc, Torracat, Rowlet, Greninja, Sceptile, Lucario, and Riolu emerged from their respective Pokeball. Pikachu and Ray, Thunderbolt. Eevee, Swift. Charizard, Blast Burn. Torracat, Fire Blast. Rowlet, Razor Leaf. Greninja, Water Shuriken. Sceptile, Leaf Storm. Lucario, Riolu, Aura Sphere. Ash commanded. The Pokémon immediately complied, with Mew as Eevee using Swift. Buzzwole used Harden, and when all the attacks hit simultaneously, a cloud of dust formed. Once the dust cleared, Buzzwole was fainted. Go, Beast Ball. Ash threw the Beast Ball, which hit Buzzwole and turned it into a beam of red light, sking it inside. He returned all his Pokémon except Mew, Eevee, Spark, Sparkle, and Ray. Ash then heard a slow clap from behind him. He rolled his eyes, thinking it was Mew, but was surprised to see Gladion. Gladion, he exclaimed. Gladion was one of the few people Ash interacted with willingly. Hey, Ash. I saw the battle. Good job, Gladion said, standing next to his Lycanroc, Midnight Form, Umbreon, and Silvally. Thanks. Why don't you take this to your mom? Ash tossed the Beast Ball to him, and Gladion caught it. Why don't you come along? You need more information anyway. I'm guessing you didn't come for a vacation, Gladion smirked. You know it. I actually get a spring break, and lo and behold, I don't actually get it. 1 week away from those annoying brats, and I have to battle Pokémon who don't even come from my world, Ash fumed. Gladion laughed but paused, recalling Ash's words. Spring break. Annoying brats, he asked. Ash sighed. Oh yeah, you don't know yet. Well, headquarters sent me on a mission to an academy for elite trainers. Stupid as I am, I accepted. Ever since the first day, these teenagers keep trying to get back at me for yelling at one of their friends. But then I saved them from a pack of bullies, so now we're kind of even, Ash explained. Why'd they send you to an academy? Gladion asked, understanding as a member of the Pokémon Justice League. They think Team Rocket has people in there, Ash replied. Wonder what they want. Gladion pondered. What were you doing out here anyway? Ash asked. Well, my mother wanted me to find you, so I did, Gladion replied. How did you know where I was? Easy. Every Beast Ball has a tracker on it. I have a tracker attached to me. Ash exclaimed. Gladion rolled his eyes. So overdramatic. It's not my fault I don't want my location exposed. Ash grumbled. So, let's go. Ash said. Boy, you sure have a lot of Pokémon in the Pikachu evolution chain, Gladion noted, glancing at Spark, Sparkle, and Ray. Oh, that. Well, what can I say? Pikachu tends to make a lot of friends. Gladion raised an eyebrow. Okay, fine. I caught them because I need more electric types, and they just happened to come across our path. Gladion accepted that explanation. Well, what are we waiting for? He asked. Let's go. Ash said, throwing up a Pokeball. Roar. Dragonite emerged, allowing Ash to climb on. Gladion returned Silvally and released Noivern. Screech. Gladion, Lycanroc, and Umbreon boarded Noivern, and they took off alongside Dragonite. To Ether Paradise. Ash declared. Upon arriving at Ether Paradise, Wick greeted them. Hello, Gladion and Ash. It's good to see you again, Ash. Hello again, Wick. I need information on the Ultra Beasts, Ash said. Ah, well, Luzamin can provide you with all the information she shared with the Ultra Guardians. She is currently in her office, Wick informed them. Ash raised an eyebrow at the mention of Ultra Guardians. After thanking Wick, they headed to Luzamin's office. Hello, Mother, Gladion greeted once they reached the office. Hello, Luzamin, Ash said. Gladion. Ash. It's so good to see you again, she responded warmly. It's good to see you again too, Luzamin. If you don't mind, can I get some information on these Ultra Beasts? Ash asked. Of course. I have all the information in this file, Luzamin said, opening a file and typing in a password. Here you go, she said, handing it to him. I have a meeting to attend, so I'll leave you boys to it. She exited, closing the door behind her. The boys approached the desk to examine the computer. Ash was shocked to see the file titled Ultra Beast Info for Ultra Guardians. What the heck, he trailed off. What? Gladion asked. What are the Ultra Guardians? Ash inquired. Gladion looked surprised. That's right. I can't believe I forgot to tell you. Gladion exclaimed. So. The Ultra Guardians are a group of teenagers our age who go to the Pokemon school and are in Professor Kukui's class. They use their Pokemon to catch Ultra Beasts, and then Ether Paradise helps open an Ultra Wormhole to send them back home, Gladion explained. So, what are their names? Ash asked. There's Kiawe, a Fire-type trainer. Then there's Lana, a Water-type trainer. Mallow, who runs Ana's kitchen with her dad, is more of a Grass-type trainer. Sophocles makes inventions and specializes in electric types. Lastly, there's my sister, Lily. She only has Snowy, her Alolan Vulpix, and she fears touching any Pokemon other than Snowy, Gladion detailed. Ash nodded along as Pikachu shared its thoughts. Pikachu remarked that the group they were discussing sounded like the troublesome ones from the Academy. Sparkle, curious, asked for clarification, but Pikachu sighed, hinting that they would understand once they returned to the Pokémon Academy. Mew expressed hope that they wouldn't encounter them, to which Gladion suggested heading over to the Pokémon school to meet them. Ash, feeling a bit reluctant, agreed, though Mew and Pikachu voiced their disapproval. Ash defended his choice to join the Academy, explaining that it was part of a top-secret mission that had led him to valuable information. Pikachu curled up on the desk, and Ash asked when they should go. Gladion suggested they head out immediately. Ash, with nothing else to do, felt a small curiosity about the Ultra Guardians and their strength. They made their way through the Melee forest and soon spotted a large building where people were training with their Pokemon. Ash stayed back while Gladion approached a girl with long blonde hair, who turned out to be Lily, Gladion's sister. He asked her to gather the others for a meeting in the classroom, piquing her interest. In the classroom, Ash admired the neat setup. Lily entered with 4 others, and Gladion introduced Ash, mentioning his work with the Ether Foundation against the Ultra Beasts. Kiawe noticed Ash's Z-ring and questioned how he obtained it, to which Ash explained that he received it from Tapu Koko during his last visit. The revelation drew gasps from the group, and Mallow expressed her surprise. Lily shared her knowledge about Tapu Koko, describing it as a guardian known for helping islanders but also for playing tricks and occasionally rewarding those it favored. Ash nodded, already familiar with the information. As Ash prepared to leave, he was interrupted by Kiawe, who challenged him to a battle. Reluctantly, Ash accepted the challenge, ready to engage in some friendly competition. Chapter end. They all went down to the battlefield outside, where Gladion was set to be the referee. This will be a 3-on-3 battle. The first trainer to have all their Pokemon unable to battle loses. Are you ready? Ash and Kiawe both nodded. Battle begin. Kiawe threw a Pokeball, and out came Turtonator. Bring on the heat. Turtonator exclaimed. Ash sighed and called out, come on out. Torracat burst from the ball, declaring, I'm fired up. Turtonator, use Flamethrower. Kiawe commanded. Torracat, fight back with revenge. Ash added. Turtonator unleashed a blast of fire, but Torracat, surrounded in flames, lunged through it, barely taking any damage. It swiped at Turtonator's face. Ah! It burns and stings. Turtonator shouted. Take that, you dragon lizard. Kiawe ordered, Turtonator, shake it off and use Shell Trap while it's still close. Ash smirked and exchanged a knowing look with Torracat. As Turtonator turned around, it exploded its shell. When the smoke cleared, Torracat was gone. They looked up to see Torracat in the air, having used Flare Blitz to propel itself. Now use Fire Blast. Ash shouted. Torracat created an ember and punched it with its paw, sending a fire blast straight for Turtonator. Turtonator! Kiawe yelled. The fire blast hit, and Torracat followed up with Flare Blitz. When the smoke cleared, Torracat was grooming itself while Turtonator lay dazed. Turtonator is unable to battle. Torracat is the winner. Kiawe, please send out your next Pokémon. You battled well, my friend, Kiawe said, returning Turtonator to its Pokeball. Go, Marowak. Kiawe threw another Pokeball. I'll knock you out with my bone. Marowak declared. Torracat, take a good rest, Ash said, returning it. Sceptile, come out and help. Ash called, throwing a Pokeball. I am ready to fight, Master. Sceptile responded. Battle begin. Kiawe shouted. Marowak, use Shadow Bone. Kiawe commanded. Sceptile, dodge it. Ash instructed. Sceptile swiftly avoided Marowak's attempts to hit. I'm serious. Stay still and take this. Marowak yelled in frustration. Use Leaf Blade. Ash commanded. Sceptile jumped into the air, its arm blades glowing. It fell towards Marowak, who was ready with its bone. Sceptile countered with Leaf Blade, while Marowak swung its bone. Sceptile smirked and used the other blade to slice at Marowak before jumping back. Now use Energy Ball Barrage. Ash shouted. Sceptile created multiple Energy Ball and sent them at Marowak. Counter with Shadow Ball. Kiawe shouted. Marowak sent Shadow Ball at the Energy Ball, causing some to explode, but a few broke through and hit Marowak. Marowak is unable to battle. The winner is Sceptile. Kiawe, please send out your next Pokémon. Thank you. You battled hard, Kiawe said, returning Marowak. Now, for my strongest Pokémon. You'll wish you never defeated my others. Come on out. Kiawe shouted, determination in his eyes. Roar. The sound of Charizard's roar echoed for miles. Ash knew Charizard could hear him through its Pokeball. Return Sceptile. You did great, Ash said, sending out another Pokeball, revealing Lucario. I am ready to battle, Master. Lucario declared. Everyone but Gladion was surprised by Lucario's unique coloring. What kind of Lucario is that? Mallow asked. It's a rare one. It's neither normal nor shiny, Ash explained. Wow, Sophocles said. Battle begin. Charizard, use Dragon Claw. Kiawe ordered. Charizard's claw glowed and elongated. Lucario, counter it with Aura Bone. Ash commanded. Lucario formed a bone and an Aura Sphere, throwing the sphere into the air. The Aura Sphere crashed down, enhancing the bone's power. Charizard's claws and Lucario's bone clashed fiercely. After a few seconds, Lucario pushed Charizard back. Kiawe decided to take a gamble. Charizard, use Roar. Charizard roared, causing Lucario to return to its Pokeball. Ash was taken by surprise when one of his Pokeball opened, revealing Lycanroc in its dusk form. That's not midday or midnight form. Lily exclaimed. Then what is it? Mallow asked. It's dusk, Ash replied. Dusk? Sophocles questioned. It evolved during the green flash, Ash explained curtly. Wow. Lana said. Are we gonna battle? Ash asked, slightly annoyed. Oh, yeah, Kiawe replied. Battle begin. Gladion shouted. Charizard, use Dragon Breath. Kiawe commanded. Charizard unleashed a powerful Dragon Breath towards Lycanroc. Lycanroc, dodge it with Accelerock. Ash instructed. Lycanroc swiftly moved around the battlefield. Charizard, use Slash. Kiawe ordered. Charizard flew at Lycanroc, slashing it and sending it into a trough of water. Lycanroc slowly emerged, shaking off the water and facing Charizard. It looked up, its eyes glowing crimson red, and began howling. "Aroo! Calm down, you're fine," Ash reassured. "What's going on?" Mallow asked worriedly. "Charizard's made it angry by getting it dirty," Ash explained. "Lycanroc, use counter." Lycanroc lunged at Charizard, its paw glowing white, and struck Charizard before it could react. "Charizard, let's do it!" Kiawe yelled, and Charizard roared in response. Kiawe and Charizard struck poses. "Use Inferno Overdrive!" Kiawe commanded. Charizard created a massive ball of fire and launched it at Lycanroc. At the same time, Ash asked, "Lycanroc, you ready?" Lycanroc nodded with determination. Ash activated his Z-Ring, switching the Lycanium Z with the Electrium Z. They opened their eyes in sync. "Use Splintering Storm Shards!" Ash shouted. "Aroo!" Rocks lifted and turned towards Charizard, pelting it with sharp stones. As the dust settled, Lycanroc was grooming itself, while Charizard lay on the ground, dazed. Charizard is unable to battle. Lycanroc emerged victorious, and Gladion announced, "The victory goes to Ash." The crowd erupted in applause after the intense battle. Kiawe and Ash returned their Pokémon and met in the center of the battlefield, shaking hands. "Good battle," Ash remarked. "I have to admit, you're a lot stronger than I thought you were." Kiawe smiled in response. "Well, I should get going," Ash said to everyone. They all waved as Ash, Spark, Sparkle, Ray, and Mew Eevee left the school grounds. Chapter End. Part Number 1, Satin and Sunshine. Ash, Pikachu, Ray, Mew, and Sparkle were resting in a large clearing with Ash's other Pokémon. Some were sparring while others were sleeping. Ash was polishing the eggs, and Pikachu was teaching Sparkle and Ray how to use moves like Electro Web and Electro Ball. Ray, who usually stayed indoors, hadn't practiced much, and Sparkle was still learning new moves. Suddenly, both eggs began to glow, catching the attention of all of Ash's Pokémon. They gathered around as the glow intensified, revealing two Eevees. One was shiny, with glossy silver fur and a gray tuft around its neck, while the other had sparkling brown fur and a tan tuft. "Hi hi hi. Where are we?" the shiny Eevee asked, looking around in wonder. "We're in the forest. I'm Ash, and this is Pikachu, Mew, Ray, Sparkle, and some of my other Pokémon," Ash explained. "Wow. I love this place. It's nice to meet you," the normal Eevee exclaimed. "I'll call you Sunshine because you have such a bright mood," Ash said, petting the normal Eevee. "Yes. Sunshine, Sunshine." Sunshine cheered, jumping up and down. "And I'll call you Satin because you're shiny and your fur is glossy," Ash added, petting the shiny Eevee. "Satin." "Okay," Satin replied, nodding. "What now?" "Well, you can relax and watch us train. You can meet the others too," Pikachu suggested. The next few hours were spent explaining Pokémon types, battles, and the world to the Eevees. Ash also shared about his aura and how most people couldn't understand Pokémon in a conversational way. Afterward, Satin and Sunshine watched Ash's other Pokémon train. Sunshine enjoyed flying, getting a chance to ride Charizard, while Satin admired Dragonite and learned some Dragon-type moves. During training, a wild Growlithe showed Satin its moves, and Sunshine played with a wild Vulpix. Meanwhile, Ash's Pokémon practiced battling without his guidance, preparing for any situation. They were near a cliff when a loud stomping echoed through the forest, signaling something massive approaching. Ash's Pokémon quickly took battle positions as a Stakataka burst through the trees, using Rock Slide and causing rocks to fall. Ash commanded his Pokémon to use their strongest moves, but they only managed to push Stakataka back. Suddenly, two rocks came crashing toward Ash and Pikachu. With the other Pokémon occupied, they couldn't reach them in time, and Ash and Pikachu fell over the cliff. Ash! Pikachu, the Pokémon yelled, and Satin and Sunshine rushed to the edge. They jumped off, glowing with a bright light as they leaped into the air. Sunshine transformed, her eyes becoming a deep midnight blue, her ears growing larger and feather-like. She sprouted magnificent wings and flew down to catch Pikachu just in time. Satin also underwent a transformation, his eyes turning red and his body growing broader. He developed teal fur and white, red-tipped wings. He swooped down, grabbing Ash and lifting him back to safety while Sunshine returned with Pikachu. All the Pokémon stared in amazement. 2 of the new Eevee evolutions. Ash murmured, astonished. Just then, Stakataka attacked again, using Rock Throw. Satin felt a surge of power and instinctively unleashed a Dragon Pulse, hitting Stakataka and causing a small explosion. Sunshine, feeling power in her wings, unintentionally flapped them, releasing a sharp air slash that created another explosion. With their combined efforts, Ash's Pokémon launched their strongest moves, and after a fierce battle, Stakataka fell backward, crashing down. "Go, Beast Ball!" Ash shouted, throwing the Pokeball. Stakataka was captured in a flash of red light. As the dust settled, Satin and Sunshine glowed white and shrank back into their Eevee forms, leaving everyone in shock. "What just happened?" they chorused, bewildered. Chapter End. Part Number 2, 2 of a Kind. Just then, Satin and Sunshine glowed white and became smaller, changing back into Eevees. Everyone's jaws dropped in surprise. What just happened? Satin and Sunshine chorused, looking at themselves in disbelief. "I really liked that Dragon Eve evolution," Satin said sadly. "Yeah, and I liked that super cute Flying Eve evolution," Sunshine added. "I wish we could go back to the way we were." Suddenly, they both glowed again. Satin's eyes changed to a vibrant red, and his body grew broader. His tail lengthened, and a large feather appeared at the end. Teal fur trailed from his head down to the end of his tail, and white, whisker-like tufts grew on both sides of his snout, ending with a red-tipped tuft of fur. His ears grew larger, and fur separated to resemble horns. Finally, he sprouted white, red-tipped wings once more. Sunshine's eyes transformed to a deep midnight blue. Her ears grew larger and took on a feather-like shape. Tufts of fur appeared on her paws, and her tail became feathered. A metallic adornment grew on her chest, angling upwards to her neck, while another one emerged from beneath her stomach, angling sideways. A single feather grew on her forehead, resting gently among her fur. Then, she grew magnificent, feathered wings once again. Everyone stared in awe. "Okay, we have to go to my mother about this," Ash said. All his Pokémon nodded, but Satin and Sunshine exchanged puzzled glances. "No offense, but what could your mom do?" Satin asked. Ash chuckled lightly. "You'd be surprised." He snapped his fingers, and they all teleported to the Hall of Origin. Archus sat on her throne, greeting them warmly. "Hello, everyone," Ash said. The legendary Pokémon were seated in their respective thrones, and a chorus of greetings erupted from Celebi, Victini, Keldeo, Azelf, Manaphy, Meloetta, Shaymin, and the Ian duo. They all rushed to Ash, causing him to tumble over. Anticipating this, he quickly conjured a pile of cushions behind him. Mew flew over to Mutwo. "Hi, sis," she greeted. "Hello, Mew," Mutwo replied. "I assume you have come for a reason," Archus said once everyone was settled. "Yes, mother. Something strange is happening," Ash explained, turning towards Satin and Sunshine, who were still in shock that Archus was there. "Trainer's mother. Guys?" Ash prompted. They snapped out of their thoughts and approached nervously. "Come on, show them," Ash encouraged. Satin and Sunshine nodded, holding paws and declaring, "We wish to be Eevees." They glowed and transformed back into their original forms. A chorus of "Pooh" and "Ah" echoed from the legendaries. That is quite amazing. A Pokémon that can de-evolve from a form that is not Mega Evolution, Archus marveled. I believe you have two very special Eevees on your hands, my son. Ash smiled at the two Eevees. Did you hear that? You're one of a kind, he said. Satin and Sunshine jumped up and down happily, then ran off to play with Ash's other Pokémon, including Victini and Manaphy. So, what else do you think they can do, Mother? Ash asked. Well, I believe they can change into all the different forms of EV evolutions. They have already helped you discover two of the newest EV evolutions I mentioned. Perhaps they can help uncover more, Archus replied. Wow. We'll have to work on that then, Ash said. Well, we should get going now. A chorus of goodbyes filled the air as all the legendaries bid farewell to Ash and his Pokémon. Ash snapped his fingers, and the group teleported back to their camp. Well, guys, who's up for more training? All of Ash's Pokémon roared in agreement, while Satin and Sunshine cheered, eager to see a wider variety of moves. They paired up and began their battles while the two Eevees watched. Ash began showing Sunshine and Satin pictures of all the known evolutions. They tried out each form. Sunshine immediately took a liking to Sylveon and Espeon, while Satin preferred Umbreon and Jolteon. When they wanted to return to their EV forms, they held each other's paws and said together, "We've had our fun, and now we're done, EV forms, here we come." They were lifted into the air, spinning rapidly and enveloped in a whirlwind. After a few moments, they landed back on the ground in their EV forms. Before they knew it, night had fallen, and the stars shone brightly. What an awesome day! Satin exclaimed, lying back and gazing up at the stars next to Ash. Yeah. We're special Pokémon with amazing powers. It's not every day you learn that. Sunshine laughed from the other side of Ash. Satin joined in the laughter, and Ash, lying back with his hands behind his head, smiled at the two. They had only come into the world yesterday, yet they seemed to know so much about it more than your average newborn, at least. After all, they were Pokémon of Ash Ketchum, so what less could you expect? Feeling something warm on his stomach, Ash lifted his head to see a pink, fluffy ball curled up there. He smiled and laid back down. Then he felt something fluffy on the right side of his head and turned to see a larger, yellow fluffy ball. Rolling his eyes, he continued to smile and gazed up at the stars. As gentle sound surrounded him, he closed his eyes, drifting off into dreams, where he would once again see his beloved Pokémon. Ash and all his Pokémon were resting as they prepared to return to the academy. Ash glanced at the back of his left hand, where a symbol from Archus marked him as the chosen one to find Necrozma. They were on their way to the altar of the sun and had taken a break after encountering various ultra beasts, including Kartana, Celesteela, and Blacephalon. Suddenly, an ultra wormhole appeared above them, and a large Pokémon emerged. It had a wide-open mouth lined with yellow, multiple arms, and a tail resembling a wrecking ball. Guzzlord! Ash exclaimed, and his Pokémon sprang into action, unleashing their strongest moves. Satin transformed into Dragoon, a dragon-type evolution, while Sunshine evolved into Sky Eon, a flying-type evolution. Ash formed a line of aura spheres and commanded Lucario to create an aura bone. Lucario skillfully combined the aura sphere with the bone, launching a barrage of energy at Guzzlord. Everyone, Power Ball! Ash shouted, and his Pokémon focused their energy, amplifying their attacks. Charizard's flamethrower grew larger, and the Rocks and Lycanroc's rock throw became bigger as they all aimed their moves at a single point in the air. When their attacks collided, they formed a vibrant ball of energy. The Pokémon launched the Power Ball at Guzzlord, who attempted to swallow it but was overwhelmed and sent flying back into the Ultra Wormhole, which surprisingly remained open. The wormhole then vanished, and Ash and his Pokémon continued on their journey. As they walked down a trail, Ash spotted a stone with the symbol of the altar of the sun. We must be on the right track, he said. They soon encountered a stone wall with double doors and 3 statues representing the Alolan starters, Rowlet, Litten, and Poplio, accompanied by their respective type symbols. Pikachu suggested moving the statues to their corresponding symbols, but found Litten's statue too heavy to budge. Wait. Mew, use your power to transform into Luxray, Ash instructed. Mew complied and was surprised by her new form. She quickly realized something about the statues and used her psychic powers to reposition the Litten statue into place. Suddenly, spikes shot up from the ground where the statue had been. Ack! Pikachu and Sparkle exclaimed. How did you know? Pikachu asked Ash. Because, Ash replied, gesturing to a barely open door nearby. This door was slightly ajar. They proceeded through the door toward the altar of the sun, with Mew Eevee running ahead. Suddenly, they heard her scream, prompting them to rush to her side. They found her at the edge of a cliff, having accidentally walked off. Help, she cried. Ash reminded her that she could fly, and she quickly soared back up. Can you use your psychic powers to carry us across? Ash asked. Mew agreed and began to lift them, though she occasionally dropped Pikachu, who expressed his frustration. After several drops, they finally reached the other side. Continuing on, they soon came across another set of double doors, wide open this time. Look! Light! Pikachu pointed to an archway at the end of the room. Mew Eevee dashed forward, but Ash sensed something was off when he heard Lucario and Riolu growling. Suddenly, a group of Jangmo-o and Hakamo-o leaped out from behind rocks. Roar! The wall on the left exploded as a massive Kamo-o burst through, demanding to know their intentions. I'm here on orders from Archus, if you don't mind, Ash replied. The opponent burst out laughing. What? Archus? Foolish human. I will not be fooled. By you. Attack. All the Jangmo-o and Hakamo-o charged towards Ash and his Pokémon. Suit yourself, Ash said. Riolu, Dragonite, Sparkle, Ray, Torracat, Lycanroc, Rowlet, attack the Jangmo-o and Hakamo-o. Mew, Pikachu, Satin, Sunshine, Charizard, Lucario, focus on Kamo-o. Riolu, use Aura Sphere. Lucario, Aura Bone. Pikachu, Sparkle, Ray, Thunderbolt. Torracat, Fire Blast. Lycanroc, Rock Throw. Charizard, Flamethrower. Dragonite, Draco Meteor. Rowlet, Razor Leaf. Satin, Sunshine, Fairy Evolution. Use Moon Blast. Mew, transform into Alolan Ninetales. Use Ice Beam, then Moon Blast. Ash commanded. All his Pokémon leaped into action. Riolu formed an Aura Sphere, while Lucario created an Aura Bone and combined it with his Aura Sphere, enhancing its power. Pikachu, Sparkle, and Ray unleashed their strongest thunderbolts. Torracat released a Flamethrower, followed by a powerful Fire Blast. Lycanroc jumped into the air, sending rocks flying at the Jangmo-o and Hakamo. Charizard unleashed a strong Flamethrower, while Dragonite focused its energy and released a powerful energy ball that exploded upon impact. Rowlet shot out sharp leaves from its wings. Satin and Sunshine glowed and evolved into Sylveon, both releasing powerful moonblasts that struck Kamo. Mew transformed into Alolan Ninetales and fired an ice beam, freezing several Jangmo-o and Hakamo-o in blocks of ice. She then charged up a moonblast and hit Kamo-o. Ash formed a barrage of Aura Spheres and sent them flying at the Jangmo-o and its evolved forms. The Jangmo-o and Hakamo-o countered with Dragon Claws and Dragon Tails. Kamo-o let out an ear-splitting screech. Mew, counter with Psychic. Ash shouted over the noise of the exploding attacks. Mew used Psychic to send the Jangmo-o and Hakamo-o crashing into the wall, then blocked out the screech. Mew. You ready? Ash called. Mew flew over and nodded, understanding his intent. She transformed into her true form. Ash pressed a button on his Z-ring, revealing a compartment. He took out the Z crystal and replaced it with the Munium Z. Mew was surrounded by Z power. Use, Genesis Supernova. Ash commanded. Mew unleashed the Genesis Supernova at Kamou, causing it to faint. Ash decided not to catch it, wanting it to remain and protect the altar from potential harm. Ash and his Pokémon walked through the archway and up the stairs, arriving at a platform adorned with Solgaleo and Lunala symbols and 4 stands. Solgaleo. Lunala. Ash wondered what to do next. Suddenly, a blur of yellow zipped past and snatched his hat. "Hey!" Ash exclaimed. The blur stopped, revealing Tapu Koko. "Long time no see," Ash said. "Tapu Koko." Pikachu shouted, jumping up. "Great to see you." Torracat added. "Hey again." Lycanroc said. Rowlet yawned and chimed in, "Yep. Good to see you. Tapu Koko. It's been a while." Mew giggled. Ash and Pikachu explained their mission and the need for Solgaleo and Lunala. Tapu Koko nodded along. Once they finished, Tapu Koko called out to the other island guardians. "Tapu Koko," it called. The other island guardians arrived, and Tapu Koko explained the situation. They nodded and floated above their respective stands. The lines in the altar began to glow. "Wow!" Pikachu exclaimed. A massive ball of energy brightened the area, and Solgaleo and Lunala emerged from it. Roar! Solgaleo's roar echoed through the valley. "Solgaleo!" Ash shouted, walking up to the majestic lion. He took out something from his pocket, smiling. "Here," he said, offering star candy, Solgaleo's favorite treat. Solgaleo liked it up, and Ash beamed. Pikachu jumped from Ash's shoulder onto Solgaleo's head. Ash approached Lunala, saying, "It's good to see you too." He gently petted her forehead. "Archus," she roared. "We need you to open an ultra wormhole so we can get to ultra space," Ash explained. Solgaleo and Lunala exchanged glances and nodded. Ash, Pikachu, Lycanroc, Mew, Torracat, and Rowlet climbed onto Solgaleo, while Lucario, Riolu, Satin, and Sunshine got onto Lunala. Ash pressed a button on his Z-ring, revealing a Z-crystal. He switched it with the Munium Z and placed it in. "You ready?" Ash asked Solgaleo, who roared in response. Ash crossed his arms. At full power, he yelled. Solgaleo's third eye appeared, and it transformed into a clear yellowish color. Roar! Solgaleo roared into the sky, and an ultra wormhole opened. Solgaleo leaped into the sky, racing toward the ultra wormhole, with Lunala flying alongside. They vanished through the tunnel, traveling through a vibrant warp in the space-time continuum. They disappeared just as the sun set, with the ultra wormhole closing behind them. They burst through the ultra wormhole and into ultra space, a vast expanse resembling a dark galaxy filled with floating islands. Solgaleo and Lunala landed gracefully, allowing their passengers to disembark. "Thank you, you too," Ash said, affectionately petting the ultra beasts. "Now, let's go find Necrozma." Just then, a purple blur splattered colorful paint-like substance across the ground, revealing a vibrant picture of Ash and Pikachu. "Hi," the purple creature laughed. "Poipole!" Ash exclaimed, his smile widening. Pikachu echoed his trainer's excitement, "Poipole." Mew flitted around Poipole in quick circles, making it dizzy. "Hi, Poipole." Lycanroc bounded over, followed by Torracat and Rowlet, who greeted Poipole warmly before drifting off to sleep. "Hello, everyone!" Poipole exclaimed, zipping around the group and reminding Ash of Mew, which made him smile. "Poipole, do you want to join us?" Ash asked. "Yes." "Where are we going?" Poipole replied eagerly. "Great! Now, how can we find Necrozma?" Ash wondered aloud. Oh. Mother of the Nest might know. Poipole suggested, pointing to the left. That way? Ash asked. Yep. Follow me. Poipole said, and Lunala and Solgaleo nodded, encouraging Ash and his Pokémon to follow. They arrived in a beautiful land, with grass and flowers carpeting the ground, cliffs adorned with greenery, and sparkling rivers flowing through the landscape. Wow! It's amazing! Pikachu remarked, and Ash nodded in agreement. In the center of the field stood a large nest-like structure. Sitting in front of it was a giant pink and purple creature resembling Poipole. Here we are. Poipole spun excitedly. Hello, Solgaleo, Lunala, the creature communicated through telepathy. Solgaleo and Lunala responded with roars. And who might you be? It inquired, turning its attention to Ash. I'm Ash. I've come to find Necrozma. There have been many Ultra Beasts. Appearing in Alola, Ash explained. Ah, you must be quite worthy to have earned the trust of Solgaleo and Lunala. Very well, I shall share what I know. Follow me. The creature led Ash, his Pokémon, Poipole, Solgaleo, and Lunala into a cave, where it settled on a large flat platform. I am Naganadel. I will tell you what I know about Necrozma, it said. Suddenly, the cave transformed into a dark canyon, revealing a giant crystal before them. Necrozma was a being of light, sharing its light with the world, which held a strange power. It created the 5 islands of Alola. Once it had shed all its light, it fell into a deep slumber, which it still remains in today, Naganadel explained. The canyon and crystal faded, returning them to the cave. Wait. You mentioned 5 islands of Alola, but there are only 4, Ash pointed out. Ah, but that is not entirely true. There is a hidden island, unknown to humans, called Shinwa Island. It is a sanctuary for legendary, mythical, and undiscovered Pokémon, Naganadel clarified. But what does Necrozma's slumber have to do with the increase in Ultra Beasts in Alola? Ash asked. It seems Necrozma has been asleep too long, leaving no one to control the power of Ultra Space. While Solgaleo and Lunala oversee it, they lack the strength to manage the Ultra Wormholes. For a time, Necrozma's power lingered, but it has faded now, Naganadel explained. Ash contemplated this information. Okay. Where can I find Necrozma? Maybe we can wake it up, Ash suggested. I'm afraid you cannot awaken it from its slumber. Solgaleo and Lunala have tried multiple times, but to no avail. You'd be surprised at the power my Pokémon and I possess. Please, just show us where Necrozma is, Ash pleaded. Very well. I shall lead you to it. Naganadel rose and guided them back outside. Solgaleo lowered itself, and Lunala floated down. Ash, Pikachu, Mew, Torracat, Lycanroc, and Rowlet climbed onto Solgaleo, while the rest of Ash's Pokémon boarded Lunala. They took off, with Naganadel leading the way. Soon, they arrived at a scene that mirrored Naganadel's earlier illusion. Wow! Pikachu exclaimed. I hear you. It's incredible. Mew added. Necrozma rests inside that crystal, Naganadel informed them. Ash nodded, asking, how can we awaken it? You must shatter the crystal, but it cannot be broken by physical means. It requires the light that Necrozma needs, Naganadel replied. The light. I can't help but feel there's a connection between this light and Pokémon, Ash mused. That's it. This light must be the energy that Pokémon emit through their moves. I think I have an idea. Since Solgaleo has a Z move, Lunala, you must have one too, right? Ash asked. Lunala nodded in agreement. Do you trust me to use it? He inquired. Lunala nodded again and tossed a purple Z crystal to Ash, who caught it. Okay. We can use Z moves to restore Necrozma's light. Ash declared. But how can you use all our Z moves? You're just one human, Naganadel questioned. Ash smirked, concentrating as multiple versions of himself materialized on either side. Naganadel's eyes widened. How did you do that? It asked. I simply used the move Double Team, Ash replied casually. But you are not a Pokémon. Well, let's just say I can do things that no other human can, Ash said. We can discuss that later. Right now, let's focus on the task at hand. Guys, choose an Ash, he instructed, directing the last part to his Pokémon. They all nodded, with Pikachu standing in front of the real Ash, while Solgaleo and Lunala each positioned themselves in front of one of the Ashes. The rest of his Pokémon gathered in front of the Ash that matched their type, except for Charizard, Dragonite, Lucario, and Greninja. On 3, we'll unleash the Z moves. Naganadel, you may not have a Z move, but you can use your most powerful move instead. Same to you, Poipole, everyone nodded in agreement. They got into position as Satin and Sunshine transformed into their respective forms, Dragoon and Skyeon. 1. They readied themselves for the Z moves. 2. They focused their energy. 3. Together, they unleashed their Z moves, which soared toward the giant crystal. As they approached, the moves combined into a brilliant multicolored sphere of power, crashing into the crystal. In an instant, a bright light enveloped everyone, the crystal shattered, and an echoing roar, louder than Solgaleo's, resonated throughout the canyon. As the light faded, Necrozma emerged, illuminating the land. I have finally awoken from my slumber, it communicated telepathically. Who possesses the power to do such? We did, Ash replied confidently. All of you? Necrozma questioned, surprised. Yes, all of us, Ash affirmed. Necrozma nodded. I have come to request that you cease the opening of these ultra wormholes across Alola. And who are you to make such a request? It countered. I am Ash, the Chosen One, sent by Archus to resolve this issue, Ash explained. Naganadel was taken aback. How can I trust you? If you seek proof, here it is, Ash said, holding out his hand so Necrozma could see the mark Archus had bestowed upon him. The mark began to glow, illuminating with yellow lines. So it is true, Necrozma acknowledged. Archus has chosen wisely. I will use my power to halt the opening of these ultra wormholes. Ash expressed his gratitude with a nod. I also have gifts for the Chosen One, Necrozma added. A small ball of light appeared in Ash's hands, revealing itself as a Z-crystal. Ash's Z-ring lifted off his wrist, glowing brightly. When the light faded, the Z-ring had grown larger, accommodating all 35 Z-crystals, including Solganium Z and Lunalium Z, arranged in 2 rows around it, with Picashunium Z in the main slot. Then, the back of his left hand glowed as Necrozma's symbol embedded itself, just as Archus's had. Everyone stared in awe. Now you are also my Chosen One. You have access to ultra space at any time, Necrozma declared. Wow, Ash breathed. Thank you so much. You're welcome, Necrozma replied. After a moment, everyone regained their composure. Well, I guess we should get going. Since time passes differently here, it should be sunrise by now. Tomorrow, we have to return to school, Ash said, a hint of sarcasm in his voice. No. Pikachu and Mew chorused. Hey, Ash. Can I come too? Please. Poipole asked eagerly. Ash smiled. Sure. Ash and his Pokémon stood in the middle of the altar of the sun with Solgaleo, Lunala, and Naganadel as the sun began to rise over the canyon. Ash took out a beast ball, and Poipole nudged it with its head. A red beam of light enveloped Poipole, drawing it inside. Solgaleo nudged Ash and roared. What is it? Ash asked, petting Solgaleo. Solgaleo wants to join you. With Necrozma back, everything is under control, and Solgaleo and Lunala are needed less, Naganadel explained. Really? Ash asked, surprised. Solgaleo nodded and roared again. All right. Ash took out another beast ball, and Solgaleo gently touched it with its head, disappearing into the ball. It was nice meeting you, Ash. I must go now, Naganadel said. Lunala nodded in agreement. Ash and his Pokémon bid farewell as Lunala and Naganadel vanished into the Ultra Wormhole, which closed behind them. Well, guys, I guess it's back to the Academy. NOO. Pikachu and Mew chorused, causing Ash and his Pokémon to sweat drop. How bad can it be? Sparkle asked. Yeah. It can't be that bad. Sunshine added. As the Pokémon debated the potential challenges of the Academy, they made their way to the airport and boarded the plane. Next stop, Pokémon Academy. It was the first day back to school after spring break. Ash was at home in the forest with his Pokémon. Sparkle, Ray, Satin, Sunshine, and Poipole all wanted to accompany Ash, Pikachu, and Mew to school, eager to explore outside their Pokeball. This meant Ash would be walking around with 6 Pokémon following him, excluding Mew, who would remain invisible. Guys, I can only have 4 of you out at a time, Ash explained. Ah. But I really want to see what's so bad about this place, Sunshine pouted. It's not the place, but rather the people in it, Pikachu mumbled. Ash rolled his eyes. Tell you what. Satin, Sunshine, and Poipole can come today. Tomorrow, Sparkle and Ray will join us. Okay. Everyone nodded in agreement. Good. Now, time for breakfast. Ash concentrated, and a feast appeared before them. All of Ash's Pokémon eagerly dug in. He had prepared a giant bowl of star candy for Solgaleo, smiling as he enjoyed breakfast with his Pokémon. Satin and Sunshine showcased their newly discovered forms to the 10 other Eevees. They had hatched while Ash was in Alola, and the Pokémon that stayed behind, along with the forest Pokémon, had cared for them well. There were 5 males and 5 females, and Ash had conjured collars for them to avoid confusion. The females were named Star, Cora, Sakura, Nova, and Eve, while the males were Alex, Ian, Axel, Lucky, and Hachi, arranged by age. After everyone finished eating, Ash made the empty bowls and plates disappear. Now, who wants to come? He asked. A chorus of roars erupted from his Pokémon. Okay. Pikachu, Mew, Satin, Sunshine, Poipole, and Charizard, he announced. The chosen Pokémon cheered, while the others expressed disappointment. Don't worry, guys. I'll be back for lunch, Ash reassured them, returning Charizard to its Pokeball. Mew invisibly perched on his head, while Pikachu jumped onto his shoulder. Satin and Sunshine walked alongside him, and Poipole flew above. Ash cloaked Poipole in invisibility to avoid drawing attention, as it was a Pokémon few had seen, including the Ether Foundation. They set off for the Academy. Upon arrival, they noticed students bustling around, some gathered in groups. With 20 minutes until classes began, a loud voice echoed through the Academy. Will all students please report to the stadium for an announcement? Curiosity sparked among the students as they began heading toward the stadium. Huh. I wonder what that's about, Ash mused, making his way toward the stadium. Maybe we're getting a new student. Pikachu suggested. Nah. I doubt it, Mew replied. Why? Because on our first day here, they specifically said, we're having a new student, but they didn't say that this time, Mew explained. Good point, Pikachu acknowledged. Maybe it has to do with a tournament, Satin chimed in. Why do you figure? Pikachu asked. 'Cause that bulletin board had something about a tournament, Satin answered. What? Really? Pikachu inquired. Yep. I only caught a glimpse of it, though, so I'm not sure what it's about. Maybe we'll get to have our first official battle. Sunshine squealed excitedly, jumping up and down. Oh, that sounds fun. Poipole exclaimed, flipping in the air. They arrived at the stadium, and Ash walked in, searching for an empty seat. He found one and sat down, with Satin and Sunshine settling on his lap while Poipole perched on his free shoulder. Then he heard a voice he wasn't eager to deal with right now. "Hey guys, what do you think the announcement is about?" Gary asked. "I dunno. Let's wait and see," Dawn replied. The gang was sitting a row down from Ash. "Ugh, hi." Pikachu whined. "What?" Sunshine asked. "Them," Pikachu said, pointing at the gang. "What?" "They're just a bunch of people." "What's wrong with them?" Satin asked. "You'll see," Pikachu replied. "Maybe they're fun," Poipole suggested. "Let's just hope they don't notice us," Mew added. Gary turned around for some reason and spotted Ash. "You jinxed it," Pikachu shouted. "Oops," Mew said. "Ash," Gary called out. "Oh brother," Ash mumbled. The rest of the gang turned around and saw Ash. "So, where did you go?" May asked. "Was it fun?" Dawn inquired. "What did you do?" Drew asked. "Ugh. It's none of your business where I went or what I did," Ash exclaimed. "Come on. Just tell us, and we'll stop bothering you," May urged. "Yeah. Or did you actually even go somewhere?" "You probably just said that to make us jealous," Gary added. "We went to another region and caught awesome new Pokémon. We went on a cruise too," Gary bragged. "I don't care what you did, just leave me alone," Ash shouted. Then they noticed Satin and Sunshine. "Ah! They're so cute!" Dawn and May exclaimed. May reached forward to pet Satin, but he growled, attempting to bite her. She pulled back quickly. "What's wrong with it?" she asked rudely as Satin continued to growl. "He's not in it. He's annoyed at you." "Leave me alone, and he won't bite you," Ash said. "Fine. But we'll get you next time," Dawn replied, turning back around. "Now I see why you hate them so much," Satin said bluntly. "Welcome to the club," Pikachu added. "They seem like a nice bunch," Sunshine said. They all stared at her. "Are you nuts?" Pikachu blurted out. "Pikachu!" Mew scolded. "What? I'm serious. Who in their right mind would like those guys?" Pikachu exclaimed. "Hey! I think they're nice, but you just got off on the wrong foot," Sunshine argued. "Dude! They literally ambushed us," Pikachu exclaimed. "Seriously?" Satin asked. "Yeah. We were outnumbered, yet we sent their Pokémon packing," Pikachu said. "Awesome!" Satin shouted. Sunshine frowned. "But they seem nice." "Shine, you think everyone is nice," Pikachu said, using Sunshine's nickname. "No, I don't," Sunshine protested. "You literally said the Ultra Beasts who attacked us just got up on the wrong side of the bed." "Like, seriously?" Pikachu countered. "Well, I can't help it if I try to see the best in people," Sunshine shouted. "Well, not everyone is bright and cheery and nice," Pikachu retorted. "How would you know? Have you met everyone in the world?" Sunshine countered. "No, but I've met the people who betrayed our trust when the time came to choose where their loyalty stood," Pikachu yelled. Ash shouted through Aura so that the other people in the stadium wouldn't hear him. Pikachu froze. "That's enough, you two," Ash said flatly. Pikachu, Satin, Sunshine, Mew, and Poipole shrank back. The Eevees and Poipole had never seen Ash this serious. What happened?" Satin whispered. Pikachu lowered his ears. Satin and Sunshine exchanged worried glances. Pikachu. Mew tried, but he remained silent. Professor Sycamore walked into the middle of the stadium to make the announcement. Every 2 years, 3 major academies come together for a tournament called the Clash of Academies. The 3 major academies are us, Sage Academy, and Brightport Academy. We haven't won the Academy Cup in 6 years, so we're hoping to win it this year. And even better news. The Clash of Academies is being held here this year. Professor Sycamore explained. A ring of cheers erupted throughout the stadium. It is split into 2 sections, the Battle War and the Contest Collision. There will be 20 students from each academy participating, 10 in the Battle War and 10 in the Contest Collision. It will take place in 5 days. The 20 students from each academy will arrive 2 days early to settle in and learn their way around. The tournament will last a week. If you would like to sign up for the Battle War or the Contest Collision, the sign-up sheets are at the front of the academy. Tryouts will be after lunch, so if you want to sign up, I suggest you do it quickly. Now, off to your classes. Loud conversations and murmurs broke out through the stadium as everyone buzzed with excitement for the Clash of Academies. People began to get up and leave the stadium, heading to their various classes. Sounds interesting. Ash murmured. He didn't seem very mad anymore, so Pikachu thought it was safe to speak. Should we enter? He asked. Of course. Mew replied. All right. We'll sign up after first PRD, Ash decided, getting up with his Pokémon settling into their usual spots as he walked out of the stadium. The bell rang, signaling the end of first PRD. Ash walked to the front of the school, finding it empty. He put his name down for the Battle War. Hey! Are you signing up for the Battle War? Gary asked, a smirk on his face. You probably won't make it. Sorry. Have you forgotten how I sent your Pokémon packing last time you tried to outnumber me? Ash replied, sending shivers down the gang's spines, but they stood their ground. You may have beaten us that time, but that's because you had more than 6 Pokémon and you were lucky, Drew said. How did you have more than 6 Pokémon, anyway? Max asked. Ugh. That's for me to know, and for you to not be nosy about, Ash replied, turning around and walking away. After lunch, the whole academy had probably signed up for either the Battle War or the Contest Collision. Each teacher was either helping with the battle tryouts or the contest tryouts. There was a group of 20 students at each battlefield. Battlefields 1 to 20 were used for contest tryouts, while battlefields 21 to 50 were used for battle tryouts. For contest tryouts, they performed contest battles, and for battles, they simply competed until someone won. Ash was at Battlefield 31, preparing for his match against a trainer named Tony. Can I battle? Please. Satin begged. Okay, but no evolving, Ash replied. Okay. Satin exclaimed. Meganium is unable to battle. Infernape is the winner, which means the match goes to Connor, announced Professor Eli. That was battle #. Next up is battle number 5. Oliver vs. Skylar. Will trainers please send out your Pokémon? Professor Eli continued. Come on out. Oliver shouted. You're up. Skylar added. A Marowak and a Simipour emerged from their Pokeballs. Battle begin. A few minutes later, Professor Eli declared, Marowak is unable to battle. Simipour is the winner, which means the match goes to Skylar. Next up is battle number 6. Ash vs. Tony. Will trainers please send out your Pokémon? Professor Eli called. Let's go. Ash shouted, as Satin dashed onto the battlefield. Reveal yourself. Tony shouted, throwing a Pokeball. A Blaziken burst forth. Battle begin. Use Blaze Kick. Tony commanded. Blaziken's foot ignited as it charged at Satin. Double team. Ash ordered. Satin multiplied into several Eevees, creating a distraction. Blaziken targeted one, but it was a fake. Now use Swift. Ash instructed. Saturn and his clones leaped into the air, launching swift at Blaziken, creating a cloud of dust. Use bulk up and follow it up with flare blitz. Tony shouted. A flash of light erupted from the dust cloud as Blaziken leaped out, engulfed in flames, heading straight for Saturn. Double team again. Ash commanded. More clones of Saturn appeared, and Blaziken went through another fake. Now use last resort and follow it up with double edge. Ash ordered. Blaziken, get up and use flamethrower. Tony shouted. Saturn created a bright yellow star and sent it flying at Blaziken, hitting the fire-type Pokémon. Blaziken charged through, sustaining damage, and unleashed flamethrower at Saturn, who narrowly dodged. Use slash. Tony shouted. Use double edge. Ash commanded. Saturn charged at Blaziken, knocking it over. Use copycat and then use double team. Ash instructed. Clones of Saturn appeared, forcing Blaziken to use slash, which kept missing the real Saturn. Now finish it with a swift. Ash commanded. Saturn jumped up and used swift, hitting Blaziken. A dust cloud formed, and when it cleared, Blaziken was fainted. Blaziken is unable to battle. Eevee wins, which means the victory goes to Ash. Next up, battle number 7. Aspic vs Jerry. Will trainers please? Ash walked back to the sidelines, where Pikachu, Mew, and Sunshine congratulated him on his first official win. A few hours later, the tryouts were almost over, and they would continue the next day. Ash and his Pokémon returned to the forest to visit his other Pokémon. After some time, they went back to the dorms, where Ash, Pikachu, Mew, Saturn, and Sunshine fell asleep. 2 days later, students from different academies were arriving at lunch. Saturn and Sunshine accompanied Ash to school, as Sparkle and Ray wanted to relax and train with Ash's other Pokémon. Ash had made it into the top 10 for the Battle War, alongside Gary, Paul, Red, Cross, Trip, Silver, Green, Max, and Ty. The contest collision participants included May, Dawn, Serena, Drew, Zoe, Ursula, Soledad, Miette, Sophia, and Riley. After 4th PRD, Ash and his Pokémon headed to the front of the school to greet the arriving students. I wonder if any of them are strong. Pikachu mused. Probably not, Mew replied. I hope we get to battle a strong student. Saturn said. Me too. Sunshine agreed. They arrived at the front of the school to see 2 fancy buses dropping students off. From each bus emerged an adult, presumably the principals of the academies. Suddenly, Ash heard voices he wasn't expecting. Ash, they chorused. He turned around quickly. Ethan. Brendan. Ash shouted as they ran up to him. Ethan had dark blue hair and wore a yellow and black cap backward, a red and black jacket, a blue watch, a gray backpack, and black shorts. Brendan had brown hair and wore a white and black beanie-like hat with a red semicircle, a red and black vest, a white and green backpack, and gray and black shorts. Dude, we never expected you to be here. Brendan exclaimed. Same goes for you. Who are you with? Ash asked. We're with Brightport, Ethan replied. Who are you with? Unfortunately, I'm with your host academy, Ash said flatly. You're with Pokémon Academy. Why is that, unfortunately? Ethan asked. Well, it's not all bad, hey. Who are they? Gary interrupted. And here comes the unfortunate part, Ash muttered. The group approached. Now what do you want? Ash asked, annoyed. Who are they? May gestured to Ethan and Brendan. None of your business, Ash gritted through his teeth. Come on, man. They can't be that bad, Ethan said. You don't know the half of it, Ash grimaced. Ethan rolled his eyes. Overdramatic, he whistled. That is the second time I've heard that within a week. Why does everyone keep saying that? Ash grumbled, causing his Pokémon, Ethan, and Brendan to snicker. I'm Ethan, he introduced. I'm Brendan, Brendan added. The group introduced themselves. What academy are you from? Dawn asked. We're from Brightport. Cool. Are you in the battle war or the contest collision? Bonnie asked. We're both in the battle war. Ash slipped away with his Pokémon, leaving the two friends with the group. Oh come on. Seriously? Pikachu exclaimed. I told you they were nice, Sunshine said. Pikachu fumed under his breath. Guys, come on, Ash sighed. Look. Mew pointed to a small group in the distance. Ash and his Pokémon turned to see what Mew was indicating. I wonder what they're doing here, Ash said. Wow. We sure are finding a lot of unexpected people here, aren't we? Pikachu remarked. Let's go. Mew urged. Ash, they chorused. Guys. Ash shouted. Why are you here? He asked. We came for the tournament. We're all from Sage except for Lyra, who's in Bright, a girl answered. There were 3 girls and 1 boy. The boy wore a blue jacket and black pants, with a blue and black crossbody bag and a red and black hat. One of the girls wore a black vest over a white shirt. She wore blue jean shorts and carried a pink crossbody bag. Her brown hair was tied in a ponytail, and she sported a white and pink hat adorned with a pink pokeball. Next to her was a girl in a white long-sleeve shirt with light blue sleeves and a pink pokeball in the center, paired with black leggings and yellow shorts. Her brown hair was styled in double buns, topped with a pink and white visor hat. The last girl had a white hat with a red bow and wore a red long-sleeve shirt under overalls, complemented by white and black thigh-highs and a yellow bag. Which academy are you from, Ash? The boy asked. I'm from Pokémon Academy, Hilbert, Ash replied. I was with Ethan and Brendan earlier, but I turned my back for a second to talk to these guys, and they were gone, Lyra explained. They're over talking to the troublesome group, Ash added. Troublesome group, a girl inquired. Yeah, they're always bothering me with questions and being annoying. Hilbert turned to Hilda, asking for her opinion. She nodded in agreement. If you say they're annoying, I'm going to guess they are pretty annoying. So, what now? Rosa asked. Hilda replied, weren't you paying attention? We're supposed to head to the cafeteria after getting to know some of the students. And I'd say we've gotten to know enough people. Hilbert interjected, I'm not sure glancing at people counts, but received a playful hit on the head from Hilda. Ow! What was that for? He exclaimed. For being silly, she answered simply. The group laughed at their antics, rolling their eyes. Come on, guys, I'll show you where the cafeteria is, Ash said, leading them to a bustling cafeteria filled with students. After getting their lunch, Ash, Rosa, Hilda, Hilbert, and Lyra sat at a table that had previously been occupied only by Ash and his Pokémon. Shortly after, Ethan and Brendan joined them. What happened? I looked away for a second to talk to them, and you two were literally gone. Lyra exclaimed. Sorry. We saw Ash and then, yeah, Ethan said, scratching his head in embarrassment. And what's up with you hanging out with the troublesome group? Traitor, Ash teased. You know, they're kind of nice. They said you saved them from Red, Ethan replied, causing Ash to look down. Yeah, he said quietly. I kind of forgot about him. What happened anyway? This question hung in the air, and Pikachu sensed the tension. Mew suggested creating a distraction, but Pikachu hesitated, saying it was hard to explain. He just kind of left, Ash said, not fully revealing the truth. Sorry, I don't want to talk about it, he added, choosing to eat in silence. Later, after Ethan and Brendan left, the group talked a bit more before heading to lunch. They were surprised to see Ethan, Brendan, and some unfamiliar faces at their usual table. How are they actually sitting with him? May wondered. Yeah, he never sits with anyone, Dawn agreed. Why hasn't he yelled at them yet? Serena asked. How did they become friends? Max questioned. It took them 10 minutes to be friends. Bonnie exclaimed. Paul seemed uninterested, while Drew pondered how Ash, who had previously yelled at Serena for saying hi, could suddenly be friends with them. Maybe they already knew him, Clement suggested. Ha. Yeah, right. I doubt he had any friends, Gary scoffed. Maybe Clement is right, Brock said thoughtfully. After lunch, the students from Sage and Brightport had their own separate dorm buildings. Ethan, Brendan, and Hilbert shared room number 28, while Lyra, Hilda, and Rosa shared room hashtag. As they unpacked, they chatted about various topics. The girls had come to help the boys since they finished quickly. I wonder why Ash dislikes that group so much, Ethan mused. Probably because they're annoying, Hilda replied. They seem nice, though, Brendan chimed in. I think it's just how you look at it. If you're their friend, they're nice. If you're their enemy, Lyra finished, they're rude and annoying. Hilda nodded, continuing, but I think Ash's situation is different. They really want to be his friends. He is the strongest trainer in the world, after all. The others nodded in agreement, contemplating how strong the students at the academy might be. A knock on the door interrupted their conversation, and Hilbert opened it to find Ash standing there. What are you doing here? He asked. Ash replied, I just came to see if you wanted a tour. This place is pretty big. Excitedly, the group agreed, and Hilda grabbed the keycard before they left the room. Ash led them on a tour of the school, showing them the dorm buildings, pool, battlefields, classrooms, stadium, and library. After the tour, they returned to dorm room 28, chatting for a while before Ash and his Pokémon headed back to their own room. Later, Ash took his Pokémon to his home in the forest, where he fed them and trained while some relaxed. Satin and Sunshine played with the other Eevees and Eeveevolutions. About an hour later, Ash, Pikachu, Mew, Satin, and Sunshine returned to dorm number 314, where they settled down and drifted off to sleep. Chapter 1, Match UPS. Yesterday was spent giving tours and getting used to the academy layout. Students at the Pokémon Academy didn't learn anything crucial, as the teachers knew they wouldn't remember it anyway. Everyone was too focused on the upcoming tournament. The day passed quickly, and now. Today was the clash of academies. With Ash. Ash was in the forest preparing with his Pokémon. They were enjoying breakfast, and he decided to rotate his team daily so everyone could have a chance to battle. Naturally, they all wanted to be chosen first. Alright, calm down, everyone. How am I supposed to pick only 4 of you? He said, mumbling the last part to himself. Hey, Ash? Ray asked. Huh? Ash replied. Can we come to watch? Sparkle chimed in. Ash nodded and returned to his thoughts. Okay. The first day of the tournament should be manageable. But none of you are weak, so let's see. After a moment of contemplation, he continued, Mew, I'll need you to override the system. Okie dokie, she squealed. Sparkle and Ray, you're coming. Satin, Sunshine, you two can join, but you won't be battling, he said. Ah, Satin whined. We'll take it. Sunshine exclaimed. All right. Pikachu, you won't be battling either, Ash added. Dang it. Fine, Pikachu replied. My battle team for today will be Noctowl, Arcanine, Absol, Arrow, Buzzwole, and, he sighed, Mew. What? Really? She asked excitedly. He sighed again. Yes. Yay. What form do I take? She asked. Any form, he answered. Well then I'll do this, she exclaimed, glowing and changing shape. Del, she purred. Delcatty. Pikachu asked. Yep, she replied. Why? He inquired. I dunno. I just thought of it. And, it's cute, she said, running around. Humph, Ash's real Delcatty remarked. Hey. I said it's cute. Mew insisted. Everyone sighed. Okay. Let's get back, Ash said. He returned Arrow, Absol, Arcanine, Noctowl, and Buzzwole. Pikachu settled on Ash's shoulder, while Mew Delcatty walked beside him, accompanied by the Eevee twins and the Piku siblings as they headed to the academy. The gang arrived at the sports field, where many other students were preparing for the tournament. May, Dawn, Bonnie, Drew, and Serena were perfecting their moves and combinations. Misty, Brock, Paul, Max, Clement, and Gary were training with their Pokémon. Gary was battling Paul, Misty was battling Brock, and Max was sparring with Clement. Use Hydro Pump. Gary commanded. Blast. Blastoise unleashed the attack. Dodge it. Paul shouted. Viree. Electivire skillfully avoided the jet of water. Let's take a break, Clement suggested. Everyone nodded and returned their Pokémon. Please head to the stadium for tournament matchups when school starts. Thank you, a professor's voice announced through the PA system. School starts in 10 minutes. Let's get to the stadium, Max said. It seemed everyone had the same idea, as they began returning their Pokémon and heading toward the stadium, some chatting with friends while others walked alone. The gang followed suit. Ash and his Pokémon arrived at school and heard the announcement to go to the stadium. When they got there, it was packed, with barely any seats left. Spotting a spot in the back, far from the crowd, Ash quickly made his way over. As he sat down, Satin, Sunshine, and Mew Delcatty joined him on his lap, while Pikachu stayed on his shoulder. Ray and Sparkle found room next to him. Oh, I wonder who will beat first. Satin exclaimed. You're not battling, Pikachu said flatly. Well, neither are you, she replied. Never mind who's battling. I want to hear who Ash is defeating first. Sunshine said. Pikachu looked at her in surprise. Where did you learn that? He asked. What? She replied. Demolished. I didn't think you were the type to know that word, he said. Oh. Whatever. I got it from Charizard. Hee hee, she giggled. Sounds about right, Ray remarked, while Sparkle rolled her eyes. Guys, be quiet, Ash said. A moment later, Professor Sycamore walked out into the middle of the stadium. Thank you everyone for coming. The Pokémon Academy is happy to host the Clash of Academies this year. I hope everyone enjoys this tournament. While the tournament is a chance to compete in contests and battles, it is also an opportunity to get to know students from other academies. We host this tournament to celebrate our friendship, so I hope you meet and bond with students from different schools. That aside, I would like to officially welcome you all to the Clash of Academies. You will be separated into two groups, the students in the Battle War and the students in the Contest Collision. In the Battle War, you will be randomly paired up to battle. In the Contest Collision, you will compete in a contest. First, you will all perform, and the judges will determine who will move on to the second round, followed by contest battles. At 12 o'clock, we will take a lunch break and then continue the battles and contests. Does anyone have any questions about today's schedule? No one raised their hand. Alright. Will the participants of the contest collision, and anyone who wants to watch it, please head out to the contest stage? Some of the teachers will be there waiting. There was a shuffle as many students exited the stadium. Now, let the Clash of Academies begin. The screen on a wall of the stadium lit up, displaying the faces of the participants in the Battle War as they shuffled. One by one, the matchups were revealed. The first battle is Connor from Brightport Academy versus Alex from Sage Academy. The second matchup is Silver from Pokémon Academy vs Amelia from Brightport Academy. Third is Everly from Brightport Academy vs Reina from Sage Academy. Fourth is Green from Pokémon Academy vs Max from Pokémon Academy. Fifth is Paul from Pokémon Academy vs Cross from Pokémon Academy. Sixth is Trip from Pokémon Academy vs Hilda from Sage Academy. Seventh is Nori from Sage Academy vs Tai from Pokémon Academy. Eighth is Violet from Sage Academy vs Camila from Sage Academy. Ninth is Hilbert from Sage Academy vs Ethan from Brightport Academy. 10th is Gary from Pokémon Academy vs Ash from Pokémon Academy. 11th is Emily from Brightport Academy vs Mandy from Brightport Academy. 12th is Rosa from Sage Academy vs Shona from Brightport Academy. 13th is Brendan from Brightport Academy vs Lucy from Sage Academy. 14th is Liam from Brightport Academy vs Red from Pokémon Academy. Lastly, Naomi from Brightport Academy vs Carolyn from Sage Academy. The stadium buzzed with excitement as students discussed their matchups. Pikachu remarked on their first opponent, the leader of the troublesome group. Mew questioned the validity of that title, while Ash, focused on the upcoming battles, noted that they would likely compete just before or after lunch. Satin cheered enthusiastically for Ash, and Sunshine joined in, prompting Ash to smirk and declare, "Let the battle war begin." Chapter End. Part Number 2, Battles. Previously, Ash had expressed his eagerness for the battles ahead. The first 8 battles progressed steadily, with the following winners: Alex, Silver, Reina, Green, Cross, Hilda, Tai, and Camila. As lunch arrived, students chatted about the battles, while others who had attended the contest collision shared their experiences. Meanwhile, Ash was in the forest, preparing for his match. He encouraged his Pokémon to train, reflecting on his reasons for participating in the tournament. At least his Pokémon enjoyed the battles. After lunch, everyone returned to the stadium, except those who had watched the contest collision. Professor Sycamore announced the next match: Hilbert of Sage Academy vs Ethan of Brightport Academy. Hilbert emerged from the left tunnel, while Ethan appeared from the right. This will be a 3 vs 3 battle. No substitutions allowed. Trainers, please release your Pokémon, the referee instructed. Let's go. Hilbert shouted as he sent out his Braviary. Ethan responded with a shiny Gyarados. Battle begin. Use Sky Attack. Hilbert commanded. Braviary swooped down, gaining speed. Hydro Pump. Ethan countered, and Gyarados unleashed a powerful jet of water, knocking Braviary from the sky. Braviary quickly recovered. Use Air Slash. Hilbert called, sending white slashes toward Gyarados. Crunch. Gyarados countered, biting down on the air slashes. Now use Rain Dance. Gyarados danced, summoning rain. Superpower. Braviary charged at Gyarados with glowing claws. Use Hydro Pump. Gyarados fired another jet of water, sending Braviary flying. Finish with Hyper Beam. Ethan shouted. Gyarados began to charge. At the same moment, Braviary launched a Brave Bird attack, colliding with Gyarados as it released its Hyper Beam. Dust filled the arena. When it cleared, Braviary was fainted, and Gyarados stood barely upright. Braviary is unable to battle. Gyarados is the winner. Please send out your next Pokémon, the referee announced. Just then, Gyarados fainted. Gyarados is now unable to battle. Will the other trainer please send out their next Pokémon? Hilbert returned Braviary with a grateful nod, and Ethan did the same. Come on out. Hilbert released his next Pokémon, revealing a Galvantula. Let's do this. Ethan sent out his Dragonite. Battle begin. Dragon Claw. Ethan commanded. Dragonite's claw glowed as it rushed at Galvantula. Agility. Galvantula dodged the attack. Now use Electro Web. Galvantula ensnared Dragonite in a web of electricity. Sucker Punch. Galvantula struck Dragonite. Dragonite. Use Hurricane. Dragonite spun and broke free from the web. Now use Dragon Dance. Dragonite powered up. Use Discharge. Hilbert commanded. Galvantula unleashed a wild discharge, but Dragonite remained strong in the hurricane. Now use Dragon Rush. Dragonite charged at Galvantula, but Galvantula used agility to dodge. Now, Gastro Acid. Galvantula shot Ball of Acid at Dragonite, poisoning it. Now use Absorb. Galvantula scuttled up and drained energy from Dragonite, weakening it further. Now finish with Discharge. Galvantula released a powerful charge, fainting Dragonite. Dragonite is unable to battle. Galvantula is the winner. Will the trainer please send out their final Pokémon? The referee announced. Thanks, Ethan said, returning Dragonite. Alright. Come on out, he shouted, sending out Typhlosion. Battle begin. Typhlosion, Euro Ball. Typhlosion rolled into a ball and struck Galvantula repeatedly until it fainted. Galvantula is unable to battle. Typhlosion is the winner. Will the trainer please send out their last Pokémon? The referee said. You did great, Hilbert said, returning Galvantula. Let's go. He released his final Pokémon, Imbor. Battle begin. Imbor, arm move. Imbor charged at Typhlosion. Smoke screen. Typhlosion released a cloud of smoke, obscuring the battlefield. Inferno. Imbor ignited in flames. Imbor, use hammer arm. Imbor swung wildly, eventually hitting Typhlosion. Use flamethrower. Imbor unleashed a stream of fire. Use swift. Typhlosion countered with a flurry of stars. Use smog. Imbor released toxic smoke, poisoning Typhlosion. Now use flare blitz. Imbor charged at Typhlosion, surrounded by flames. In a synchronized moment, both trainers shouted, flamethrower. The flames collided, creating a massive explosion. When the smoke cleared, Imbor was fainted, and Typhlosion knelt, exhausted. Imbor is unable to battle. The winner is Typhlosion, therefore the victory goes to Ethan, the referee announced. Typhlosion then collapsed. The stadium erupted in cheers, celebrating the competitors as they returned their Pokémon. In the VIP box, the gang applauded the thrilling performance. Ash stood up, realizing his match was next. Just then, his Rotom phone rang. He frowned at the caller ID, knowing it was likely important. He hesitated, torn between the call and the match. Come on, he mumbled to his Pokémon, as the twins and Mew jumped off his lap to follow him out of the stadium. Ash entered a clearing in the forest, answering a call. Back at the stadium, Gary was already in place at the battlefield, and the announcer noted that if the challenger didn't arrive soon, they would be disqualified. The crowd murmured in confusion. In the VIP box, the gang was puzzled. May wondered why Ash would miss such an opportunity, and Dawn agreed, suggesting he might have chickened out. Drew was skeptical, recalling Ash's determination in previous battles. Brock suggested that something important might have come up, and Serena nodded in agreement. In the forest, Ash spoke into his phone, asking for an update. He confirmed that 2 Team Rocket members were attending the academy, but he was unaware of any others. The voice on the other end urged him to stay alert. Ash reassured them that he could handle any situation. After the call ended, he expressed his frustration, while Pikachu reminded him that everyone worried about him. They shared a light moment before Ash suggested heading back to see their friends. Sparkle cheered, and they made their way home. A week had passed since the clash of academies, and Sage Academy had emerged victorious. Ash returned to his dorm with Pikachu and Mew, finding it empty but everything in its place. He proposed a walk through the city, and they excitedly left the school grounds, stopping at various shops. Mew convinced Ash to buy a diamond ring that suited her perfectly. As they walked past a shop displaying TVs, a breaking news report caught their attention. The footage showed a cloaked figure challenging the world champion, who had fainted a Pokémon. The report mentioned that the cloaked challenger had used hypnosis on the champion. Ash felt a wave of panic as he realized this footage was supposed to be destroyed. Pikachu echoed his concern, and Mew reassured them that the cloak would help conceal Ash's identity. Ash rushed home and called a contact, expressing his alarm over the news coverage. The person on the other end confirmed they had been trying to remove it for hours. Ash was frustrated that he hadn't been informed sooner, fearing the champions would now be searching for him. His contact reminded him that the cloak provided some protection, but Ash felt the weight of his secret being exposed. Later, Ash, Mew, and Pikachu explained the situation to their Pokémon friends, who were shocked. The twins, Sparkle, Ray, and the newborn Eevees were confused. Mew quickly summarized the situation, explaining Ash's past victory over the world champion and the lengths they had gone to keep it private. Sunshine and Satin slowly began to understand, and Pikachu was relieved that they were all on the same page. The following week, the Academy buzzed with rumors about the cloaked figure who had defeated the world champion. Soon, news spread of a new master class student joining the Academy, further stirring excitement among the students. As they gathered for the announcement, Gary remarked on the unusual occurrence of 2 new students in 1 year, while May and Dawn speculated about the new arrival. Serena hoped it would be a girl, and they all agreed to find out more. "Hello, students," the voice announced, signaling the beginning of a new chapter. "I want to introduce you to our new students. They have both achieved a remarkable 97% and are now in the master class. Please welcome Carly and Matthew Avalon." A boy and a girl stepped onto the stage. The boy appeared to be around 15 or 16, with somewhat spiky dark brown hair. He wore a white shirt under an unzipped brown vest and jeans. The girl looked about 17, sporting light brown curly hair tied in a ponytail, dressed in a pink and white striped shirt beneath an unzipped jean jacket. The students applauded for the second highest score ever. At lunch, most students were buzzing with gossip about the new arrivals, while others remained fixated on the topic of a mysterious cloaked figure, much to Ash's dismay. He settled at his usual empty table, sharing ketchup with Pikachu, a fruit cup with Mew, and French fries with the twins. The new students approached the group. "Hey, can we sit here?" Carly asked. "Sure," Misty replied. They took a seat and began chatting. "Who's that?" Matthew inquired, pointing at Ash. "Oh, that's Ash," Serena answered. "You should probably stay away from him," Max added. "Why?" Carly questioned. "Because he might just yell at you," Drew said. The siblings exchanged puzzled glances. "Why would he do that?" Carly asked. They shrugged. "Who knows? But we've tried," Bonnie said. "Really?" Carly asked. "Yes," Serena confirmed. "On his first day, I tried to introduce myself, but he just yelled at me. Maybe it was just first day jitters," Matthew suggested. Gary laughed dryly. "Yeah, right. We tried a bunch after that. But he really doesn't like us." The group nodded in agreement. "Who cares? He's a loser anyway," Gary remarked. "He's stronger than you," Matthew countered. "Well, he's still a loser in terms of popularity," Gary retorted, and the siblings rolled their eyes. "The only time he was somewhat nice to us was when he saved us from Red and his group," Dawn said. "Who are they?" Carly asked. "They're the bullies of the school. They call themselves the Shadow Gang. Red is their leader and a former champion of the school," Clement explained. "Who's the champion now?" Matthew asked. "Ash," they all replied. Ash was enjoying his meal in peace until the new students approached his table. "Hi!" Matthew exclaimed. "Hello," Carly greeted. Ash grunted in annoyance. Pikachu expressed his discontent, while Mew suggested they might not be as troublesome as they seemed. They don't really like you over there, Matthew tried again. What do you want? Ash asked. We just wanted to let you know that they aren't saying anything nice about you, Matthew replied. I don't care. They're all annoying, so frankly, I don't care about their opinions, Ash responded. Silence followed. We heard you're the school champion, Carly said. Good for you, he replied. You have some really cute Pokémon, Carly noted, attempting to pet Pikachu, who sparked his cheeks in response. Satin began to growl, prompting Carly to pull back hastily. They don't like strangers. Now, what are you still doing here? Ash asked. I challenge you to a battle. Matthew declared. Carly's eyes widened. Ash looked bored. I decline, he said. Why? Are you afraid you'll lose? Matthew pressed. No, I'm afraid I'll humiliate you, Ash replied sarcastically. Come on. Just a one-on-one, Matthew insisted. Ugh. If it will make you leave me alone, then I accept. Later, Ash, Matthew, and Carly made their way to the battlefields. I'll be the referee, Carly announced. News of the battle between the school champion and one of the new students spread quickly, drawing a large crowd. Most bets favored Ash as the winner. This will be a one-on-one battle. The trainer whose Pokémon is unable to battle first loses. Battle begin. Carly declared. Come on out. Matthew shouted, releasing a Rillaboom from its Pokeball. Ash considered his options. A chorus of voices from his Pokémon urged him to pick them. Quiet. Satin, he called. Yes. Satin replied eagerly. I choose you. Ash shouted as Satin leaped into the battlefield. Use wood hammer. Matthew commanded. A giant wooden hammer appeared and came crashing down. Quick attack. Ash shouted. Satin swiftly dodged it. Use swift. Satin jumped up and sent stars flying at Rillaboom, pushing it back significantly. Now, Razor Leaf. Matthew ordered. Rillaboom unleashed a barrage of leaves toward Satin. Dodge and use last resort. Ash commanded. Satin leaped above the attack and charged at Rillaboom, landing a powerful hit. Rillaboom. Matthew exclaimed in panic. Use a Shadow Ball barrage. Ash instructed. Satin soared into the air, creating multiple Shadow Ball that rained down on Rillaboom. Rillaboom struggled to rise. Finish it with last resort. Ash shouted. Satin jumped high above Rillaboom, flicking its tail to create a massive star that crashed down. A big explosion followed. When the dust settled, Rillaboom lay dazed, while Satin groomed itself. Matthew and Carly stared in shock, while the crowd erupted in cheers, mostly due to their winning bets. Rillaboom is unable to battle. Eevee is the winner, therefore the victory goes to Ash. Carly announced, regaining her composure. The crowd cheered. You fought well. Thank you, Matthew said, returning Rillaboom. He approached Ash. Congratulations, he said. You did well. Ash acknowledged him briefly before turning away and leaving. After school, Ash walked toward the forest when Carly and Matthew caught up with him. He inwardly groaned. Hi. Matthew said. What do you want? Ash replied. Oh, nothing. I just wanted to say congratulations again. It's amazing how strong you are, Matthew said. Ash sighed. What do you want? He repeated. Like I said, nothing. We just want to get to know you, Matthew insisted. Well, I don't want to know you, so go away, Ash said, quickening his pace. Come on. If you knew who we really were, you'd. He was interrupted by Carly covering his mouth. Eh. Now, let's not get hasty, she said, sweat dropping. Ash turned to them. Who are you then? He asked. No one special, heh, Carly replied. He narrowed his eyes. If it's no one special, then tell me, who are you? He pressed. No one. Carly exclaimed, a bit too forcefully. Just tell me who you are. Ash casually suggested asking Professor Sycamore for information and sharing it with the entire school. Matthew questioned Ash's confidence in getting a response from the professor. Ash explained that they were old friends and mentioned that Sycamore had given him one of his strongest Pokémon. Matthew was surprised to hear that Ash's Eevee wasn't his strongest Pokémon, to which Ash clarified that while Eevee was strong, it was still a recent addition to his team. With a playful challenge, Ash offered Matthew a choice: share the secret with him or risk him going to Professor Sycamore. Carly sighed, realizing they had little choice. She agreed to tell Ash but insisted on his promise of secrecy. After a moment of hesitation, she revealed, we're kind of famous in Galar. That's because we're the children of the world champion. Our father is Champion Leon. Hello again. Class is back in session for the students at the Pokémon Academy. In the ongoing story titled, Pokémon Academy, From Past to Present, Ash Ketchum is a student navigating his journey at the Academy. He encounters both familiar and new faces as he seeks to uncover Team Rocket's intentions. However, Ash's past begins to resurface, complicating his present. With Team Rocket taking action, Ash must collaborate with others to tackle the challenges ahead. Join Ash as he embarks on new adventures in Pokémon Academy, From Past to Present.